This is Sparta!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Costello, aka Sergeant Riggs. Welcome to the Lethal Geeks podcast, episode 24. My partners in crime, please introduce yourselves, gentlemen.
Charles, Sergeant Murtaugh. How you doing, brother?
Rock Talks in the house tonight. How has everybody been these last few weeks?
Welcome. Pretty good.
I've been pretty good.
I've had a good week. How about you guys? Having a good week?
Pretty good. My wife made these tacos. That's why I was late for pregame. See, we were running we were running the streets, and then when we got home, she made these tacos from this recipe, man, and they were the bomb. But and then we sat around and I got fat and we started talking. So and that's when I lost track.
You gotta hit that treadmill tomorrow, Charles. You gotta hit that treadmill. You gotta burn those calories.
Oh, don't we all?
What about you, Rox? Anything fun with you this week?
Work's been kicking my ass this week, and then on top of that, all the promotional marketing that you know about that I've been working on. So
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know.
You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing.
No, I don't know.
Just
I don't
been
know.
staying busy. Lethal Geeks are keeping me busy.
Okay, guys. If you know, you know. That's all I gotta say. On my end, dude, good stuff on me. I finished my front lawn completely changed. So that they finished today. So put new grass, no stones, so all nice and neat. Finished a fence back on the backyard that was broken, so I changed that too. Installed a new outlet. No, I've been pretty busy this week. So I've been a little away from Twitter X world, guys. So if I've been a little MIA, I apologize, but I've been busy. So overall, good week, and can't complain.
It's awesome, man.
So,
Sounds very productive.
So let's say hello to the chat. So who's in here? Sergeant. Shout out to Hold My DualShock joining the Lethal Geeks podcast. Yes. How you doing, man? Dennis, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, what's up, Dennis?
Gilmore Girls, my favorite.
Hey.
How you doing, Gilmore? Diva, Masara. You know what, Diva? I also like you too. Diva, you know what? I gotta give everybody some love.
Now, speaking of Hold My DualShock, they're gonna be a little late because they're running and they're doing their own thing, trying to do their hustle on their channel. So everybody just be patient. They are coming, but yeah, we got some stuff we want to talk about with them. Before we move on with the chat, I just want to let everybody know that we will pretty much be discussing some good topics here tonight. So you've been watching the news. They've been talking about Spaceball, so that's going to be one of our topics. Some Hollywood news stuff. The Nintendo Switch release. We're going to talk about that as well, and the controversy surrounding all of that. We're going to let Rox lead with that. WBD, again, with Zaslav and his bonus and the vote to reject that. The Superman pre-sales. Real or fake? We have to talk about that as well. One of the things here, we post what we see, but we also, more than that, we want to be honest about what we post about, and we want to make sure that the things we post is true. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. Wonder Woman, we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then also the Superman trailer reaction. See how everybody felt about that trailer.
Full show.
All right.
And if you guys are coming in, please come in, like, share, subscribe, join the conversation right here. We've said it multiple times. We're a safe space. I don't care where side of the fandom you are in. Right here, everybody is a fan first. Period.
And speaking of that, rules of the platform. Let's go ahead and go over that right quick. We already know our rules are really, really simple. If you're going to come in here, no matter what side of the fandom you folks fall on, like he was saying, this is a safe space. You can come in here as long as you are respectful. If you have a difference of opinion, no matter what it is, that is perfectly okay. We are just asking you to be adults about it, be honest about it, and just be true. you can use your words. You don't have to be evil or come in like a troll and talk smack. You don't have to do any of that. But if you do, you're getting bounced. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. We are all adults here. We should all act like adults. In the end, this stuff is just comics. And speaking of that, my good buddy Rocks here, Mr. Leo Getz, had a post for me today about this. Apparently, there is somebody going around pretending to be a Snyderverse fan and posted a wild post. Can we go ahead and bring that up right quick?
Yeah, it was a Reddit post. It was posted.
Right now, 1 second.
It seemed like it was going around the Twitter sphere quite a bit, and it was quite obvious, in my opinion, what was happening. But I realized to me, it looked like a coordinated effort between all these pro James Gunn accounts to push this narrative. So I felt I had to speak up and say something because, like, it was just absolutely ridiculous.
All right, so
good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Like I said, I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because, like I said, it should be self-evident and also be common sense to know that we live in an age now where what I like to call post-truth. So it's real easy,
Phil, to the actual post.
It's real easy. It's real easy for digital media, especially those behind it and how they operate, to manipulate people. Okay. The way this speaks and the way this reads is not representative of the Lethal Geeks, and it's not representative of anybody or any other podcast who is trying to bring the fandom together and not divide it. So whether it's Gunn operatives, whether it's a Snyder operative, whether it's neither one of those, and they're just trying to cause problems, we at the Lethal Geeks do not condone this. We have our opinions over here about this new DCU. You're going to have your opinions about the DCU. We can still talk about it like adults, but this will not be tolerated. So we wanted to let our audience know, and anybody else that comes into the chat, that this type of behavior will not be tolerated by the Lethal Geeks. That's not what we're about. We're about trying to bring the fandom together, no matter how hard that is, and it is tough, but that's what our ultimate goal is to bring people together and still have those differences of opinions and still be able to talk about those things like adults. All right, moving on.
All right. So let's go to there. All right. So before we move on, let's just see who else is rolling in here because it's been a few minutes now. So see who else has showed up. Philip Enza. How you doing, Philip? Who else is here?
Happy anniversary from Man of Steel.
I love that avatar. Every time I see the Black Ranger, I love it. He's my favorite.
All right. Chris Thermo. Evening, gents. How you doing?
Good evening, sir.
Futuretron. What's cooking?
Futuretron. What's up, sir?
Lucas Weber.
Let me read this one. Did you know that Michael Bay was going to make Man of Steel 2? Would have been a masterpiece. I want
to comment on that because that turned out to be, from what I've understood, that seems like it was actually fake news. What I'm hearing is that was actually put out there to try and discredit the Christopher McQuarrie situation.
Exactly. I was going to say, digging deeper, we found out that really wasn't the case. It was Christopher McQuarrie was pretty much the only one that was going to headline a Man of Steel 2.
Yeah.
That wasn't. Yeah, that information wasn't real. They did, however, they did interview 5 directors. So before, even before they chose Zack Snyder, they had like 5 directors that they were going to choose, but ultimately they spearheaded Zack Snyder, and that was the way it went. After that, however, Christopher McQuarrie is the only one that I know that was gearing up and ready to go for a Man of Steel 2.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and rumor has it that is actually why Henry Cavill had agreed to announce himself as Superman again, because all that was greenlit in the background and ready to go. So there's a lot of interesting stuff coming out right now, and I think as this Superman movie, this new one, as it rolls out, I think more interesting information about how it all led up to this is going to come out in the background.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree, because Christopher McQuarrie, he didn't have to say nothing about Superman, because it was all about Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
But he did.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. All right. Who else are we gonna say? Oh, by the way, our guests just DM me, so they're on their way. So they'll be in shortly.
Sweet.
Awesome.
All right.
So, all right. Who else we got here? Simple J. Simple J. How you doing, Simple J?
What's up?
Giancarlo Martinez.
Giancarlo
Hello,
Martinez.
Welcome.
Sean Franklin.
Sean Franklin, what up?
Demi Ray.
Demi Ray.
How you doing,
Hey, Demi Ray. What's up, Demi?
Elmer
Oh, Jesus.
All right. Movies and games related. Made it.
Hey,
anniversary.
made it.
One of the
Happy
greatest
anniversary
movies
to
ever.
one of the greatest. Absolutely. Man of Steel, the best Superman origin ever.
We will be highlighting that later on. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely
We got you.
We got you.
All right. The true DCU must return. Gunn must go. Facts. Who else we got here? We got okay. Final Girl Android. We keep exposing Gunn and friends before Superman flops. Man, listen, they're exposing themselves. We're not doing nothing. They're making it easy for. We're just reporting.
You see, exactly. All we're doing is reporting what we see. Please know that the information that we find is not from us, because we don't source anything unless we have something to go off of, and then that's when we source our information. We don't just go digging for stuff and then poop, look what I found. That's not how it works. People send me stuff, I start sourcing it, and if it turns out to be something that's interesting, I'm going to post it. And if it sounds relevant or truthful, I'm going to post it. However, does not necessarily mean that it's true. Okay, if it turns out not to be true, we issue a correction. That's just how that's going to go. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, whether or not that information, the information that we're going to talk about tonight especially, is true or not, July 11th is what's going to determine everything. And that weekend is going to determine everything. And most importantly, that second week is going to determine. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah.
Or it might determine, or maybe even the first week, because remember, we got pre-sales that are selling like hotcakes, supposedly.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We'll talk about it. That's part of it. So
all right. So before we well, let's give Katie and Andy a few more minutes. Right. In the meantime, Rock Talks, please. Remind
our 1 year anniversary.
The people. Let me pull it up first.
I'm so jealous that we're giving this thing away. You know how nice it would look in my room over here? Right up on my little shelf. It would be so beautiful.
All right.
Come on, Phil. Unprepared, Phil.
I'm prepared, dude. I'm very prepared.
Perfect. All right. Zoom in for me. So, guys, this is our 1 year anniversary giveaway. We are giving away a 1/6 scale Batman limited edition statue from Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Look at that bad boy. Phil's holding that up right there. Show them the number on it, Phil. What was it? 8? Number 8 out of.
Oh, where is it?
Where's it? It's on the side, right, I think. Yes, 8 out of 530.
Nice.
Okay, this thing is absolutely incredible. We will be giving that away on our stream July 12th, Saturday, July 12th. There it is. Look at that thing. Beautiful. Absolutely.
You might be the lucky winner, guys. So,
yep. So just make sure, all you got to do is get on our social medias. Make sure you like and share those posts. And make sure you are subscribed to the Lethal Geeks podcast on the platform that you like and share those posts on. That's all you got to do. And we will be announcing a winner on our 1 year anniversary stream, Saturday, July 12th, 2025. And we also have quite a few more surprises coming up for that stream. So stay tuned, guys.
Quite a few more surprises, Rox? What do you mean quite a few more?
My lips are sealed.
Your lips are sealed, so you got to plead the fifth.
I'm Fair Canadian. Enough. Doesn't work over here.
Oh, all right. So, guys, you guys know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, and let's get the party started. All right. Unshare. First topic.
Let's go.
Oh my
Baseball.
God! This is happening! I saw this and I was like, yes. And they showed up right on time. All right, cool. Before we
Dude,
do it,
it's awesome because it's like we've been talking about, like, even in our last few streams, about how they have to bring the buffoonery genre back.
Dude, and they pulled it off. But before that, guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Katie, Annie, hold my DualShock.
DualShock.
What's up?
What's up, guys?
Hey,
Guys,
Hey,
welcome to the party.
What's up?
How you guys doing?
Guys,
I'm doing great. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
No
So,
problem.
yeah, I was the one who shot you guys that DM. You made a valid point, and I had to cut that. But we're gonna play that video. It's like 35 seconds or something like that. And you pretty much hit the nail on the head. And I said I've got to have these guys on here to expound on that because it's very important that everybody hear that and hear the way that you explained it, and maybe that'll kind of kick the gears in and have some people open up their eyes and be like, oh, okay, well, now I see why. So that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you guys on the show, obviously, to talk about your journey into this whole geek thing as well. So yeah, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, man.
All right.
so Charles, what do you want to do the video first, or want to start with your journey first?
No, let's start with their journey, and then we'll do the video. Yeah.
All right. So, guys, talk to us. How did it all start? How did you guys, each one of you, how did you guys get into this nerd shit called geekhood, fandom, comics, video games, the works?
I mean, you've been into kind of like boy stuff. For like you know what I'm saying? Like, Katie is not like your typical.
Okay, so
Like,
yeah, I'm like action movies and it's kind of my jam. So usually like he and I argue probably like all the time about movies because Andy has a more like broader horizon of like
a more
movies.
sophisticated palette.
Sure. That he's into. And I'm more into like action and like shooting movies. And
So now I gotta ask because you said that now, but now I gotta ask. So when you grew up, who influenced that?
my mom, kind of.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's just like growing up, there's a bunch of us. Like I had all sisters, and so being a middle child, it was more so like I was like the awkward one, I guess. And so my sister was really into like makeup and stuff, which I didn't like. And so I was more into like I read a lot when I was a kid. And
Okay.
so
Nerd.
and then our cousins, there was a lot of boys, and so I got into like video games, and so that's how like we would play Halo a lot. And then he liked a lot of action movies, and so he would show us like it was like a guilty pleasure because like there were some of the movies like mom wouldn't let us watch, but my older cousin, being the boy of the family, like he would like watch stuff, and he'd be like, "You guys want to watch this?" And so yeah, I got really into like Mission Impossible and like Die Hard, so stuff like that.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. All right. All
So,
right.
but starting the channel was completely different. I feel like that wasn't originally
Whose idea was it?
It was so originally Peter, his brother, was doing like gaming, and that
Well, he wanted to. Yeah, he wanted to do a little bit of everything. He wanted to like. He and I had watched The Matrix 4, and we were not happy, and so we like.
I don't think anybody was.
Don't remind me, dude.
And,
Do not remind me of that.
yeah.
We were in Texas because we're like have a property in Texas, and we were like, we spent probably 3-4 hours talking about it. Like, man, I wish we could like talk to other people about it, but like not a lot of our friends had watched that film. And so we had been like flirting with the idea of like doing something on YouTube, and we just did it. And then we like stumbled. He was trying to do it while playing video games, but like
That
Peter
did
will
not
tell
work.
you he's like way too to be able to like hold a conversation. He's like the worst game. Like he like gets fully zoned in, and so that didn't work. And then Katie started like talking to him about stuff. I used to be on the other side of the camera, like I'd be like doing the production stuff, and then at some point,
So you guys would rotate it.
Yeah.
And then Peter he gets really nervous, so he didn't like being in
on the camera.
Does he get a stage fright on camera or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll be really
Okay.
awkward. Like he and I can have a conversation like regular all the time, but then as soon as like we're sitting over here behind the camera, like Peter won't speak. And
Yeah.
Camera
so,
It's tough. It's tough because I had that, like, if Peter's there listening, like I had the same issue also when I started. I was freaking the fuck out, my self-esteem, and it just in time it just got easier and easier. So it's just you got to face those fears. That's pretty much the advice I give. Just got to face it.
See,
and eventually.
For me, it was a little bit different because like I had a background where I used to DJ, so I was kind of used to like being the center of attention at like a function or an event, being up on a stage or whatever. So
you just wanted the drinks. You got a lot of drinks. Let's
so
say it.
to translate that into a camera is there's a natural flow to it. You know what I mean? So I never really had a lot of stage fright or anything like that. But I wanted to ask you guys. So you guys have a podcast. It's called Hold My DualShock. So there's a lot of gaming, right? What games influenced you guys when you were younger? It influenced you guys in a way that like made you want to do what you do with your podcast today.
So like as far as gaming, I think the whole point of the podcast was initially to be like the stuff we talk about in between gaming, kind of like the Hold My Beer, like
yeah,
when
like
you're
a
like
play on
gaming with your
words.
friends and like you end up getting in a fight about something and you have to like stop playing while you beef it out.
Okay.
As far as games though, oh dude, like Peter and
Like,
I,
what'd you guys grow up on? Like that's what I want to know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like do you remember like Dynasty Warriors and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Tekken, obviously Grand Theft Auto, GoldenEye.
But the
Fun
64, the Nintendo 64 version, right? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I used to sneak.
I think that's the only version there is.
No, there's a Reloaded.
Oh, that's right, Reloaded. It came
with
out for the
Daniel Craig.
Xbox and the PS3 back in the. Okay, yeah, you're right. My bad.
Like obviously things like Halo and like shooting games. I don't know if you guys remember, but way back when there was Medal of Honor, like and you would be like storming the.
Yeah.
beaches
Oh yeah. It's a military game. I think it was a
yeah.
for an army game. A war game.
Battlefront. Did you guys ever play
Go ahead.
Battlefront with the co-op campaign, the Galactic Conquest?
No,
Peter and I
never did
would
that one.
stay up all night playing.
Dude, I was huge into SOCOM back in the day.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah,
That was mine
SOCOM
too.
1, SOCOM
That's
2,
old.
SOCOM 3.
That was my game.
I think I
That was
spent
my
10
game.
years there.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think there's any games we didn't like, man. It was just anything and everything. And, you used to have to go, because we had a PlayStation. We'd have to go to your friend's house if they had like Nintendo shit, or another friend's house if they had the Xbox. Because you weren't getting you didn't have.
That's what I was going to ask you. What did you guys grow up like? Were you more Nintendo 64 or did you have the one thing I never had 64, but I did have PC. I'm sorry, PlayStation, all the PlayStations.
So our mom was big into PC building back in the 90s. Like she actually would build computers. So she would let us play video games on the computer.
That's awesome.
But we never had a games console. We begged for one. She was like, "No, it's stupid. You don't need to be sitting in front of the TV playing video games." And then one Christmas we got a PlayStation 2. That was our first console. We used to be like the kids that have to go to our friend's house where they were allowed to have their own. And my best friend Spencer growing up, he had he had multiple because his uncle lived with him, and they had the N64 and a bunch of other ones in the house, like the PlayStation 1, and he had that PlayStation 1 in his room, and we used to play Grand Theft Auto 3 and with the cheat codes and yeah.
That's awesome.
The good old days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved Vice City. Out of the three, Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas, it was always Vice City for me. Always Vice City for me. I love that game.
Best aesthetic of almost. Do you remember the commercials for it?
Yes. I ran,
Yeah.
Flock of Seagulls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. They don't market shit like the way they used to. They just don't.
No.
They really don't.
So I wanted to ask when did you guys start the Hold My DualShock? Okay, so the you guys do a lot of ranting, you do the catch up also. When did you guys say, okay, we're gonna take this YouTube thing seriously and we're gonna brand it, be what we are? So when did that start?
We're gonna start taking it seriously tomorrow. I swear. I promise. We still don't pay.
So technically, I guess this year, because like we have full-time jobs, so like we work.
Oh, as do we, as all of us do as well.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all
as
do.
far as the branding, we're kind of lucky because that's what I do. Like we do like graphic design, in marketing. So it's like it doesn't take a whole lot for us to. In most of the stuff we make is a joke. Like it's like playful. It's not like
hateful, but you wouldn't know that if you look in our comments because a lot of people get upset. Yeah. But no, posting stuff consistently and like taking the channel seriously probably this year. Like we put way more effort into and like focus. So like we live stream like 5 or 6 days a week.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like
and
that,
then,
yeah. You're in a lot.
And then we try and post videos every day. So that was like a this year decision.
Yeah.
But yeah. We've had the channel, I think, a year and a half. Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Ramped it up kind of nice then. All right. Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions, guys, you guys want to ask Andy and Katie before we start?
I do. Yes, I wanted to ask him. Okay, so obviously the video games, as far as film, TV shows, stuff like that, obviously you guys are into that stuff too. Are you more comic booky or film and TV?
So you're probably more film and TV, huh, Katie?
I'm definitely more film and TV. I've read some comic books, but not really.
For me, it's more complicated. I'm not from America, so like there was times where we'd be overseas and you couldn't get a lot of the American comics. But I learned to read on comics. My dad, he's British, and he has every Asterix and Obelix comic, every Tintin comic ever made. Like it was like so that's what I like. I hated reading. I thought it was lame. I used to be the kid being like, "Mom, why do I need to fucking learn to read? Like, what's the point of this?" And it was comics that got me into reading. And then when we'd go to like, when we lived in America for a little bit, you could get comics. But when we move elsewhere, we wouldn't take everything with us because it's expensive to ship stuff. And so you kind of start over again. And so we used to like in South Africa, there'd be people that would like have the comic synopsises or like the panels, and you could like read them like second, third party, or people doing breakdowns. And we used to just spend like tons of times, like my friends and I, reading all the like breakdowns that people would give. So we like had to live like vicariously through people who get their hands on stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I had a similar solution with you, Andy, because I grew up in Chile, South America. So I was born here in the States, but I did read comics here. But when I moved to Chile, you couldn't take everything.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get back into comics when I was a kid because I didn't want to read it in Spanish. I was already so used to reading it in English. Just to me to read it in Spanish, I was like, ugh. It's just, but that's me. It's just me because, and it's still up to this day. Now that I'm back in the States, like everything in English, but like I just couldn't. It's not that I didn't have access to comics down there. It's just that it was just the language. I just couldn't do the switch.
In America's got like a cool comic culture of like guys being like, I go to my like comic store weekly, like when new stuff comes out. And in South Africa, that's just like. That just wasn't a possibility. Like it wasn't where we live, and then you don't just walk places, in South Africa. It's too violent. Actually,
can I get you to actually expand on growing up in South Africa and when you moved to America, and explain to our listeners the difference in lifestyle, the difference in culture, all that. I'd love to hear
so we've lived in South Africa, like that's where I'm born. Then we moved to America for a little bit for my family's work, and then we moved back to the UK, and Peter and I went to high school in Scotland. Then we moved back to South Africa.
You're well traveled then.
Wow.
Yeah. You're very well traveled. I'm impressed. Nice.
And so like Scotland was the most like chill as far as you can walk around. Like we used to walk like even as teenagers in the middle of the night, super safe. South Africa.
Were you more of a soccer or a rugby guy?
I was a rugby guy.
You're rugby? Yeah.
I played rugby.
What'd you play in rugby?
I played all across the back line.
You played
primarily like fullback and inside center.
Yeah, I was a forward back in high school. Yeah.
You miss it?
Not really.
Really?
Not really. I don't miss it at all. I got my ass beat a lot, but one of my classmates, he broke his nose 3 times playing in high school.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's like in rugby, like no padding, no nothing. You just straight up muscle, boom.
I'll say rugby's brutal, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say I feel like being from South Africa, like Andy has a completely different like worldview of watching movies. So like the things that I feel like Americans complain about of like wokeness or like the politicalness that's inserted into movies, it's a completely different viewpoint. I feel like you need to expand on that more than but like
just different countries have completely like
you've lived in different countries, different cultures, so you have a vision, a worldwide vision, just like me, because I grew up in the States and I lived in South America. So that's when people are diverse worldwide, like you are, you have a brighter point of view of things. So that's why I think your channel is blowing up because of that, because it's not just the Americanized point of view, it's like the more worldwide point of view,
including the American point of view. So exactly, we do. Let's just admit it.
And right here we're the same. I'm like, we got American, Hispanic, Canadian.
We have a narrower point of view when it comes to that particular subject. Yes,
and America's from film industry is like the leader in like the Western world. So that's like what we watch. Like even when we live in the UK or South Africa, it might be a couple years later, but we would watch American films. And like films would come out at the same time, but like shows, we would still watch that. I always used to joke with my friends, like that show King of Queens. I don't know if you guys ever saw that.
Yeah,
but it was huge overseas. And I was like, man, we don't watch that. I'm moved here, like my Americans are like, what are you talking about? That show is shit. What are you talking about?
No, that show is great.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just very different.
Nice. All right, guys. So, well, stick around. We got a lot of more topics. And guys, if you're coming in, Hold My DualShock is here with us. Please, a link will be in the description for their websites, their social links, so you guys can go and subscribe to their channels, go and support them as well. And let's kick it up into top gear, Charles. So, you want to do the video now?
Yes, let's do the video because I want to. It's gonna lead into what we're talking about anyway. But go ahead and play that video for me.
All right, let me upload it here. Hold my DualShock. Here we go.
Because that was the thing when we first started talking about this film last year. We said there's never been a director, no matter how great, how amazing, how storied. There's never been a legacy important enough that Warner Brothers wouldn't interfere.
So like it's not outside the realm for things to get messed with because the studio does not allow any of their directors to have their own creative vision.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that? What is that, Private Pile?
Now, look.
It's so weird seeing our own stuff.
So you can take the video down now. So that was the reason why I reached out to you guys, because what you said and then the end of that video literally encapsulates what WBD has been doing for years. And I'm not talking about just recently. People think that this is a recent thing that they don't. They have been meddling since Donner. I am trying to tell these people that and they don't listen. I'm like, how is it that, and you guys have got to be at least 20 years younger than I am. And I said, if they get it, and I made a post about it, and I recirculated it. I said, if they get it and they're younger than me, what is going on with this other generation and them just not getting the message of what's going on here? I don't understand that. WBD, in short, has been the cause of all of this. And everybody's like, it's the creative's fault, or it's the director's fault, or no, it's not. It's been them the whole time. Why is it that we see that and they don't? So I wanted to kind of get a broader perspective of what your take is on that. Do you think that, I mean, ultimately studios meddle, I get it, but do you think that there's room for a studio to interfere at all at any point, whether it's going good or bad, or no?
Ooh, I mean,
No pressure.
I'll say personally, I think the issue with Warner Brothers is that they consistently meddle. Like, it's, yes, like all studios interfere and want to have a hand in what's going on with their productions. But I think the difference is with Warner Brothers, it doesn't matter if it's going good or bad. I feel like they always have their own vision of what they want the outcome to be. And because they're always plagued by this jealousy of Marvel and what they want to obtain, they consistently meddle with ideas rather than allowing their directors, regardless of how like amazing or their history has been in the past, they don't allow them to just get their vision out there, which is why we've seen so many director's cuts, like of everyone wanting like the director version to be released, and that only happens at Warner Brothers.
well, I mean, like you have other.
That's exactly my point. It's almost like you never hear really about Marvel meddling,
No.
with anything. Disney, Star Wars, that we can debate that one all day. So they do that, but in general, it's just been Warner Brothers. It seems like that they're the only ones, especially when it comes to the superhero IP.
Yes.
They want to just,
Yeah,
they just want to put their hands all over it.
I don't think they understand like the nature of comics, because in my mind, I don't like that now there's like this thing of like the right and wrong way to adapt a comic. Like, because there's many different comics and you see a lot of people very dishonestly, if it's something they like, they'll point to a comic, they'll scour to find an example in the comic that proves that it should exist. If it's something they don't like, they'll ignore it and be like, well, that comic doesn't count. It's so like, it's this weird thing where, yeah, I understand that they're businesses and they need these things to be profitable. But I do think that these things need to be art first and foremost to have like a lasting legacy.
Yes.
And so if you're trying to sell a product, then don't bring in an artistic director. Like just hire anybody who's going to be a company stooge, do a paint by. But I mean, when you're bringing in a Burton or a Donner, or don't hire Tim Burton, like who has a distinct style if you don't want them to do that. And then
all tours.
You
Yeah.
have to understand that that's going to bring in people that want to see what would be essentially their run, their
version.
stab at it,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Might go well, might go badly, but you get to experience that. This
Yes.
homogenization, I think, is a problem, and I think it also just, I think that Warner Brothers, I think, is just a company of like bad. It's like a bad company
Like, just
because
of idiots,
when you look
but
at
yeah.
the depth of it, like you have someone like Burton who, nails 2 Batman films for you, but he can't make a Superman film. Like that just ends up in production hell. Or Donner, like trying to rip it off, trying to get him to make 2 for the price of 1. Like just no respect for their directors. I don't know why that's the case, but like you said, it's not a new thing. And like for some reason, it's happened to every single person who's ever worked with them. Nolan saying he can't work with them. He doesn't want to work with
Nolan
them.
refuses to ever go back.
But this time it's going to be different. This company's the same, the people running are the same, but this time's going to be different. But if you bring that up, for some reason, now people want to defend this company. And I mean, if there's one thing that history's proven, it's like given enough time, Warner Brothers will screw you over.
Oh, for sure.
And they had years to witness this. That's the funny part about it.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're just phony from day one, and they never really did the research, went back as far as Man of Steel, and actually saw what was going on and said, wait a minute, there's too many things that are aligning, that are just lining right up. And that's their MO. That has been their thing. They just, my name is Big Shot CEO, and I'm here to interfere in every fucking thing and possibly ruin the company. And then they just keep on rolling it like that. I don't understand why they are drawn to WB and not anywhere else. You know what I mean? That's what confuses me. It's like, okay, Marvel's, they're not perfect, don't get me wrong, but they at least make an attempt to listen to their fan base. That is the reason You
I
know,
would even go
that's
so far as to say, to their detriment, they sometimes allow
The
get
directors have a little
that
too much.
yeah.
free reign.
Yeah, like they hire
Yeah.
directors who technically aren't qualified to make certain movies.
Like Taika,
Yeah.
Well, and look at
example.
what you learned from Taika.
Yeah.
From Taika,
Yeah.
you did have a pretty popular Ragnarok, and then you see what he does with Love and Thunder, and you realize, oh, that's the limit. That
was
far,
too much
right?
free reign. Yeah.
Whereas with Warner Brothers,
Right.
you never really see what the limit is because you shortchange people. You never let things breathe. So what works at DC? You have no idea.
No.
Like you don't actually know because usually things are either canceled at the first hint of trouble,
Or
Yes.
they're
and it's already
cut.
a product. Like
Yeah.
if you look like the Ayer cut, like what did you learn from the Ayer cut? The studio stepped in. They should be emboldened. Like I don't understand why people. If you look at just from the outside with the Ayer cut, that film made a lot of money, right? So
You mean the Snyder cut?
no the
he's-
Ayer cut. Sorry, not the
The,
Ayer cut.
the theatrical version of Air Cut.
Theatrical
Oh,
version.
the
of
theatrical
Ayer
version. Okay, so just the Suicide Squad. Okay, gotcha,
sorry.
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's what I don't know why I said the Ayer cut.
Or
Well, it's
fine.
Suicide Squad.
because there's two Suicide Squads. and
Yes,
we always
yes,
get
okay,
confused about
gotcha,
which
gotcha,
one.
gotcha.
So,
But
Yeah,
with
that other Suicide Squad, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah, like the studio should be emboldened. Why would you think then that moving forward they wouldn't continue to interfere? They didn't learn a lesson there. They saw that they did what they wanted,
And
they
it made money.
You know,
And it's like it feels like there's there's an entity there. I don't know other way to describe it, but let's just say they fire Zaslav. You know, let's just say they all get together. The shareholders are like, we are done with this. They fire Zaslav, they fire Gunn, they fire Safran, they fire all of these people, right? And then it's like they don't. There's still a void there, and that void says, reach out and find the exact same people who don't know a goddamn thing about these fucking comics.
Yeah.
That's my problem. I don't understand why WB keeps pulling those people in. Why is Marvel not pulling those people in? Why is another studio not pulling those type of people in that WB environment? You know what I mean? It's just it's like a ghost that will forever haunt.
It's not a ghost,
studio.
it's a cancer. It's a cancer.
Yeah, it's like you try to cut it out, but another piece pops up. How does that piece pop up? Where does it come from?
Well,
why don't they look at the past and say enough is enough, guys?
You
know what I mean?
Here's my take on this topic. Warner Brothers as a whole, like Warner Brothers the studio per se, okay? They're part of old Hollywood. Old Hollywood, old money, power, politics, all that crap. We don't talk about those things in this podcast, just so you guys know. But all those things come and play why some people are still having in the position that they are. Like after everything that happened, why is like Safran is still there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are still from the previous regimes because we've been through 2 regimes already.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I mean. It's like when you break the link of that chain, there's still enough of that chain left from somebody there that believes in that ideology, and they're going to keep on. Well, fine. They cut them out, but we're going to hire somebody else that's going to marvelize this shit. And then they fired them. It's like, well, we're going to keep finding people that's going to marvelize this shit.
I think the big elephant in the room is that they've worked with so many directors already and have already burned so many people that there's just a certain group of directors of quality that don't even want to go back to the studio.
Mhm.
So I think Warner Brothers, regardless of who's running it, they're kind of forced to work with the same people who are willing to work for that company. You
That
get
makes
what I'm
sense.
saying?
And for
That
pocket
makes
change.
sense, yeah.
Mhm.
And for pocket
Yeah.
change, yeah.
The culture of Warner Brothers. I think they've just built up over time that because they haven't been successful, they've always had this envy. And then the people that always work there, they all have the same mindset of what they want to achieve, and then never allow things to come to fruition of seeing was it successful or not, because they always cut them off at the knees if if one thing wasn't as successful as they
My
expected.
thing is this though: do they have the anti-life equation, and they're just like hypnotizing all of the investors and shareholders into believing that shit all these years? That's my problem. I'm like, guys, they lied to you time and time again and told you they were going to bring you a Marvel, and they still keep failing, and yet y'all keep listening to them. What is going on? You're
And they're
wasting your money.
Charles, look what Demi Ray says right here.
Safran has been losing WB money since Meet the Spartans. Yeah, he was a producer of Meet the Spartans, by the way. So, give you some context. The Wayans brothers did an outstanding job making Scary Movie and all of the other kind of stuff. That is just like when I talk about buffoonery, because it's just that stupid. I love it. And that's the reason why I love it, because it knows what it is. And the Wayans brothers gave us that. And then after that, after all of those films started populating, everybody started doing it. Here we come with the superhero movie, Meet the Spartans, epic movie. And they just kept trying to copy off that flavor, and they were just tanking after that. There was like a certain element, there was something missing when they made these films. Scary Movie to me felt like a Naked Gun movie. It felt like an Airplane. You know, it felt like that movie, the parody of Airplane in '78. It felt that way to me. That it felt like that formula. But then after that, they try to replicate it, and it just keeps failing. And that's the vibe that I get from WB. They're like, let's just do it like Marvel, brighten it up, and here we
Look
are.
how much money this movie made. It's insane.
Scary movie.
Budget 20 million budget. Let's say with marketing, let's say 40 million, just to round it up. 270 million.
That's a resounding success. They I don't know if you guys know this, Katie and Annie, but did you know that when Scary Movie left the theater, audiences petitioned for them to bring it back, and they brought it back for like another? Yeah, they brought it back again. They brought it back to the theater. It was that funny. And they brought it back to the theater, and it was still packed. Yeah.
This was a good movie, dude. I saw this in theaters. This was I
saw hilarious.
I saw to the third movie, and after that I stopped because I was like, no.
It was the first three were the best. And you're right, the Wayans brothers weren't involved after the third one, and that's when it all started to go downhill.
It just started to go downhill.
The Wayans actually did a spin-off series. I think there was some other Scary Movie-esque side project that they did when they stopped associating with.
I've heard that before.
God, I'm gonna look it up. Give me a second.
Haunted House. I can't remember. Was it that one?
I think it was Haunted House.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I've seen that one. Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So, guys, let's move on to our next topic. So, we were about to react to the Spaceballs news, and you guys showed up, so it was perfect. So now that you guys are here, we can all react to this awesome news, because we've been saying for so long, comedy is dead, and we're like, bring fucking comedy back, but real comedy, not.
I was gonna tell you, no, comedy is not dead. They're just not doing it right, and they're applying it to the wrong goddamn shit. That's the problem.
Well, Charles, let's educate the people what comedy looks like. So, guys, Spaceballs.
Buffoonery from my day, everybody. Buffoonery from my day.
$38 years. Prequel, sequel,
spinoffs,
sequel, prequel,
the TV spinoff, which is both a prequel and a sequel. Not to mention 2 Dooms, 7 Jurassic Parks, 2 Avatars, plus 3 upcoming Avatars, making 5 Avatars.
36 MCU movies and 2 different RDJs. DCU attempt number 1, number 2, animated Lion King, live action Lion King. Live action prequel Lion King
prequel.
What else? Harry Potter 8 movies, series, Aliens, Part 2.
And Oppenheimer.
But in 38 years, there's only been one Spaceballs. Dude, this movie's such a classic.
Until now.
Until now.
After 40 years, we asked What do the fans want? But instead, we're making this movie. May the Schwartz be with you.
It's awesome.
In other words, he said, the fans, we'll go ahead and just make this movie instead.
It means he's
All
paying
right.
attention to all the
So, yes. So I am cautiously optimistic. I hope that Mel Brooks has that same magic that he had 40 years ago when he made this. I really, really do. Because we all know how that is when you wish for something, but people they lose that magic, they lose that touch. But I hope that he does. If he has that touch, it's buffoonery all the way, and I know I'm gonna love it just like the first one. So yeah.
And dude, Rick fucking Moranis, dude. After what, 30 years? 30 when was his last movie? Like in the 90s, 97, 98?
Yeah.
Dude,
it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while, and I can't believe he's coming back for this because
He's been in some small stuff. I've seen him in some smaller stuff.
Yeah.
after
He's
the
been
fact.
some yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing, unfortunately, though, the only person who won't not be returning is the late John Candy.
Yeah.
But Rick, dude, I can't believe it. I'm like, and honestly, I don't think he's doing it for the paycheck either. I think the story I am optimistic about this because, listen, Mel Brooks is a genius. He's old, yes, but guess what? Clint Eastwood's also old, and he's still a genius, and he's still kicking in and doing movies. So just because we're getting old doesn't mean we're missing a step or two. You know,
Speak for yourself,
Ridley
bro.
Scott. Look at Ridley Scott in his mid-80s and still doing Gladiator 2 and all that shit. So
No, I think part of the
for
reason
yourself.
why it took so long for them to
For
announce
dinner.
this is
For dinner.
that, sorry, Charles. I was just saying, I think part of the reason why it took so long for this to get announced is because he's been working on it. It's not something that he just wanted to put out there as garbage. To me, it
no
makes
doubt.
sense that's why it's taken so long.
Right. I don't think he just popped up one day like a month ago and said, I'm going to make this movie. I'm pretty sure he's been working on it, and if he wants to perfect it and get it right, I'm all for it, man. But that's the type of buffoonery back then, man. It knew what it was. It didn't try to play like it was anything else but that. And you can tell the difference in that, the type of buffoonery they put in superhero films, and this is buffoonery. This is where it belongs. So we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping it's great.
what do you guys? What's your reaction? Katie, let's start with you. What's your reaction to this?
I will wait.
Okay, have you watched the first one? Okay, let's
Yes.
have you watched? Okay, all right.
Yes, I've seen Spaceballs. My concern is just with current movies, whether or not it's actually going to be funny and whether or not they're going to pull their punches or actually be lean into the jokes. So we'll see. I'm excited, but a little concerned.
Are you concerned that they're going to tone it down? Like it's going to be a toned down Spaceballs? Is that where you're? Okay.
That's going to be kind of lame.
That's my concern. See, I was talking to my wife about it long before. I said they don't make comedies like they used to back then. If they just don't, sometimes you just have to go with that. It's not to offend anybody. It is to make you laugh because it is telling you about it's letting you say, hey, you know what? These stereotypes and this crap, this is all just stupid. And that's the point. It's just to look at it and just say, this is funny as hell. This is so dumb. I'm going to watch this for what it is. And if you go in with that mindset, there you go. But I have this. And that's why I said I was cautiously optimistic, is because what if they tone it down? What if, the studio's like, no, you got to kind of do it this way.
That joke's a little bit too
Which
far.
studio, question. Which studio produced the original one?
Do we know?
Was it
Look it up,
Fox? Was it
Rock's looking it up.
Yeah.
Rock's looking it up.
Okay. Was it MGM? I want to know who.
Yeah, it was
MGM.
behind it. It was MGM.
Okay,
Yeah,
Amazon.
it was MGM.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Bezos is involved in this one. Okay. So probably
Okay.
same thing. So okay. Yeah. I'm now that I know that it's Amazon, I know Amazon is trying to follow the agenda also, but hopefully they've been learning their lesson lately, and I'm praying that this movie does not disappoint because this man is a legend. Mel Brooks is a fucking legend.
Yes.
So I do
Yes,
not
he is.
want I don't want this to fail, man.
Yeah.
What else? I was gonna I found something here in the chat. I was gonna share it. Damn it.
See, you messing up again, man.
I'm
But
You
no,
should
I
have been
think
going
this
through
is,
these chats already, bro.
I think this is the opportunity for them to start bringing back that buffoonery genre. We've been talking about it for weeks now, about how we want to see a Tropic Thunder 2. We want to see more stuff like scary movies. We miss that stuff, man. Like that's
And
the
lean
stuff that,
all the way
Yes.
into the comedy. Don't be scared, man.
Yeah.
It's because it's funny. It really
So,
is.
so this is. Let me say this to the audience, to the people out there. It's okay if we laugh and make fun of something or someone or a certain situation. It's okay, guys.
Take a look
We
at the
can
most
laugh.
popular. Take a look at the most popular Netflix comedy specials. All the big ones, all the ones that do top numbers, are ones that aren't afraid and don't hold back with the jokes. They go after everybody equally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that we need more of that, and we need that in film. You know, don't hold back. It's comedy. It's there to just. People just need to stop taking it so seriously. It's comedy.
I think it's going to be really good because if you remember in the original, the whole play was Spaceballs 2, the quest for more money, and that opening crawl, it kind of is. That's what it's about. Like, look at all these cash grab, like just the desperation. We're doing it. We don't care about what the fans. It's gonna be like they have so much ammo to already play with. Mel Brooks is still funny, by the way. I don't know if you guys watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's funny on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
No, I don't watch it.
That is a show that doesn't pull its punches because they know the difference of you can make racial humor and it's like there's a difference between laughing at something and laughing about something. And if you're addressing a stereotype or just a misunderstanding, it's inherently funny. And I think you're right. I think people realize, bro, there's no hate in saying, hey, this is a misunderstanding and we can laugh about that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
So so before we move on to our next topic, I wanted to share this little video that I shared to Charles and Rox the other day about my friend Marty. And Marty pretty much said it the way it is.
No audio, buddy.
As example made merely as examples of a story that the filmmaker wants to get to make into a feature in the commercial world. What if we just experience these films as films in and of themselves, not made with any agenda? Today, many short films are made.
Pretty much saying, bring back movies. So we can all enjoy it, laugh, comment on it, and still have conversations years from now like we do with Man of Steel, which is its 12th birthday.
Yes.
Just saying.
12 years old.
All right, so we got a lot of topics have been going on lately. So let's start with some Hollywood drama that has been going on lately. And Rox shared with us something here that has been going on. Let me pull up these articles. Nope, not that one. This one. Let me get you guys there so you guys can see each other. All right, so Rox, you want to?
So
Go
basically,
ahead and leave this one.
the headline basically says that Disney and Universal launch an AI legal battle. They're suing Midjourney over copyright claims. So these studios, I think it's kind of hypocritical because, you know, we've been hearing about how they have been using AI in quite a bit of their films. So they don't seem to have a problem with using AI when it's a financial benefit to them. But when it comes to, you know, the everyday average person using AI, it seems to be an issue. Basically, yeah, they don't want people making content that with their characters like Shrek, like Darth Vader, all that kind of stuff. And they are launching this legal battle. Scroll down a bit so I can go through the article, Phil. All right there. In the next chapter of Big Entertainment versus Big Tech, Disney and Universal have filed a lawsuit against artificial intelligence company Midjourney over tools that allow users to create images and videos that can manipulate famous characters at the click of a prompt. Here's my issue with that, is that that's like saying we're going to sue somebody for drawing a fan art picture. You know what I mean? Because that's technically what the AI is doing when you really break it down. So
Correct.
it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. The lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court in Los Angeles on Wednesday by Disney Enterprises, Marvel, Lucasfilm's 20th Century, Universal Studios production, and DreamWorks Animation describes the
David
AI
Holtzman,
firm,
AI
the AI firm Midjourney as a bottomless pit of plagiarism. You guys got any comments on that? What do you guys think?
Yeah. This, like, even when the whole writer strike stuff was going out, if you remember, they weren't upset at the existence of AI. They didn't want it to affect their jobs.
Their
They wanted to
bottom,
get
their
paid the
bottom
same
line.
amount. They used it, and we got a lot of pushback because people are like, you should be siding with, the creatives. And I was like, if you listen to what they're saying, they're not saying we want to be creative. They're saying we want to be paid to use AI prompts and whatnot. Like, dude, if you wanted to say we don't want AI in our industry at all, that's one thing.
That's
but we know
different.
that they're
Yes.
using. We know they're using the AI. Again, I don't know. It comes across a lot like they don't like that the barrier to entry
is
being broken
Lowered.
down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
That anybody
if they were
can do anything online these days.
And
Exactly.
if you were confident that you're making top flight stories, why would you care? Because real fans don't want knockoff Star Wars. We don't want knockoff stuff, but it's because of the state of Disney. And again, this whole thing, whenever you talk about AI, they love to conjure the image of like me and my art, and I'm drawing stuff, and I'm this struggling artist, and Midjourney's robbing me. Bro, Disney did not make Star Wars. They bought these things. They acquired these things. It is a giant corporation that I guarantee you in the next couple of years, they'll just be doing it themselves. And that's what this is about. They just want...
They suck the fun out of everything, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, they've already, but I mean, Marvel has used AI. We saw it in that one TV show where they had the AI scrolls. I believe
Yeah, Secret Invasion.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
And then
the name of it. Yeah.
we know AI was used in The Flash because it's so obvious. I mean, even Nicolas Cage commented on it, saying that what he filmed was not what was actually in the movie. So it's very clear that they used AI. It's very clear that these companies are utilizing the technology. They just have a problem with you and me utilizing that technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes, because I don't see how I think AI has gotten too big already. I don't think you can go backwards with AI. I think there only is a forward. And, Pandora's box has already been opened. You can't close it now. So it's going to be very
Well, of course,
interesting to see
man.
what
The
happens.
AI is surpassing Moore's law, bro. And he was the guy that basically coined how computers develop exponentially, and how they double every 6 months or every year or whatever the case may be. Well, we are past that point right now. So yeah, there is no going back. There is no that's and once they've perfected the AI software to talk to the AI machines, the actual hardware, and once they get those two melded together the way they should, it's off to the races
Skynet.
from there, buddy.
Skynet, exactly. It's Skynet. It's
Off to the
Skynet.
races from there, buddy. So
I agree.
yeah.
But no, it's definitely a story I want to keep tabs on and see what happens in the future, because it's going to define a lot of how production is done going forward.
Well, it's already happening. It's already happening. How it's being, everything's being halted. And this is another topic that came in that we already knew this happened because we saw we didn't see Man and Web. That's the problem. It was spoiled, but we know why it failed, because Dakota just said, "Yeah, you don't have to worry about anything about this movie." What do you mean? Like, no, it's nothing. You don't have to worry about it. She already knew this movie had nothing to do with the MCU. But Sony lied to her and everyone in the cast. So, oh yeah, we're gonna join the MCU. Blah blah blah. No, never happened. Hence why this is happening, because
speaking
Dakota
out,
says
yeah.
Hollywood is a mess because studios want to remake the same shit.
Things, yep. And
What
we've
did
been
we just
saying
saw
that.
right now? What did we just saw now with Mel Brooks?
But we've been saying it. We've actually been highlighting that on the last few episodes, that it's all remakes. That's all they want. They don't want to do original IP. And I mean, they don't want to take the millions of dollars that people
Risk.
are willing to give them for a movie like Sinners and
They don't
take the risk.
take risks. They don't take risks
Risk.
anymore.
Yep.
Hollywood, look, let me tell you something. There was a time when Hollywood back then would hire directors, right? This is what I'm going to give you. Cool. This is the chance I'm going to take on you. And if that did not succeed, from there, the options were open for discussion as to how they're going to move forward. But they took the chance, is the point. No meddling, no nothing. You had to grind to get your script written, and it is not like it is today. You know, you can just pick anybody up off the street and tell them to write a script using AI as assistants, and there you go. Back then,
I was going to say that. I was just going to say that. Wait till
you have to
AI scripts.
Back then you have to work. You had to work for your meal. You had to write a script. You had to find an agent. Okay, they had to read that script. They had to say whether or not they were going to take you on. Then they had to peddle your script through Hollywood, and you get rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection until you finally hit the one you wanted, and then a studio finally took a chance, and then that movie was successful.
Or you had to prove yourself. A studio would take you on to do one of their projects, and if that project was successful, then they would greenlight what you wanted to do.
Exactly. They used to do that. That was honorable work. You wrote it yourself, you did it yourself, it was your brainchild, and you hope for the best, and sometimes you were successful. They don't do that now. They don't do that now because everything is easy to do. Everything is just way too easy to do. So there's no passion behind it. There's no real thought behind it, and that's why we end up with the slop that we get.
Agreed.
They're counting on the idiocy of the audience. That's what they're doing. They're basically saying the audience is stupid. Let's not give them something smart or intelligent or thought-provoking or something to think about or a piece of art. No, let's not give them that. Let's just give them something 90 to 120 minutes of stupidity. They'll forget about it in 5 minutes. And that's it. And hopefully it'll make $1 billion because it had a cartoony, familiar face, whatever the hell is there. Yeah. So.
Agreed.
Sorry, I heard something. I thought it looks like it was a fireworks outside, but I kind of heard like somebody came through my door. I'm like, what? It's that loud. Sorry. Sorry. I lost that last part of it. That's okay.
You good, bro?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, no, like Sinners, like that was a perfect example. And the narrative came in like, no, this movie's a failure. It's not going to make its money. Oh, they didn't want to give him the deal because he's black. Blah 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 blah. Like, they are afraid of originality. They just want to rehash over and over and over and over and over again, and they'll get flop after flop after flop after flop. They won't learn because corporate America has corporatized films.
And I think that's the Warner Brothers problem is now the like I highlighted earlier, the great directors are somewhere else. Warner Brothers has their corporate stooge directors now, and that's all they have left. That's all that they can work with. So
yeah, I mean the fact that Muschietti's still there, like after what happened with the Flash, then him saying I can't do anything with the Flash because he's just not a 4-quadrant character.
And that people just don't like him.
Bro.
But Andy, here's the thing also. I can't,
what the hell is a 4-quadrant character? Where did you get that term from? Some sort of like workshop or something?
It's
explain to me how a TV show can get the Flash, but you guys can't find a way to properly adapt it to a film.
Exactly.
No, I agree.
It's rhetorical.
Men's, we doing all the talking, Katie. Do you have an opinion on all this?
Well, no, I just think it's ridiculous. Like that's the thing. They have continuous excuses for why things fail, and it's generally put back on us. So it's our fault that the movie didn't do well because we weren't willing to support whether it's female actors or female characters, or if it's people just don't like the Flash, or it's a plethora thing of it's whether it's racist or we're bigots or we're just no longer.
It's always someone else's sport except not them.
Except
Yeah.
them.
And so it's never just the fact that they weren't creative enough to make a better story, or they weren't willing to put in the time and effort to make sure that the character was actually correct. Or
not to cut you off, but we talk about this all the time. I think it's crazy that there's an entire group of people that build their personality around defending the studio.
Yeah.
And not realizing that all those talking points are how a studio explains its failure to their board and to their investors. And so that you're just carrying water.
You guys are hearing that right here. Andy's saying it loud and clear, guys. For all you guys that later say, "Oh, these shills here," this is why.
Yeah.
This is why.
I'm sorry. You're.
Any last thoughts on this topic, guys?
No, it's just it's not going to change unless they start giving people who are actually talented and creative and an opportunity to showcase that on the big screen.
Because you're right, it is corporate slop. And the thing is, people go to films for an experience. Whether you like it or not, you can discuss and have a passionate conversation about an experience. Sinners is a great example. I know people who hated that film, but we were talking about that film and people went to see it to see what all the fuss was about. Yes. You know, when things start feeling really, really comfortable and start feeling like reruns because you're just rehashing, where do people watch that? In their bed as they fall asleep on streaming. People don't go to the theaters to see stuff they've already seen 1,000 times before. They go for experiences.
Yes. I think what it also comes down to is people want organic, real stories told to them. When the stories come off as fake and phony and slop, it's very recognizable, and the audience isn't stupid. We recognize when it's phony. We recognize when it's slop, and that's why a company like Warner Brothers is in the situation that they are in right now. Nothing has felt real and organic lately in the superhero genre. Absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm. Nope. All right. So, next topic. But please, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Hold My DualShock is here. If you guys are coming in, joining the conversation. We have 123 people watching us. So, guys, thank you for joining us. Like, share, and subscribe. And Rox, this is your topic now.
Ooh, okay. I was looking forward to this because I know you guys are gamers, so I wanted to get your guys' opinion on the release of the Nintendo Switch 2. I want to know what you guys think. Have you purchased the console? Let's start there. No?
We have not.
Haven't purchased it yet. Okay, awesome. What do you guys think of the release? What do you guys think of everything that's surrounded the Nintendo Switch 2 so far? What do you guys think of the price? What do you think of the hype? Do you buy into the hype? I want to know all your thoughts on that.
Hey, dog, why don't you let him answer one question at a time, B? Slow down, Rox.
I got more. That's just the
he got like 8 questions in one question.
Good, I got you. So some people are probably gonna be so mad at me. Nintendo Switch 2. Do I believe the hype? Yes, I do believe the hype. I think now this is the caveat. Nintendo fans, I feel like, are completely different than like other gamers. Like if you like Nintendo, that's like a specific group of people. So I don't think Nintendo fans care about the price. They'll say they're upset about the fact that the games are more expensive, but people are still going to spend the money to buy it. And I say that as someone who's also, I'd rather them not try and con people because, like, let's be real. Does it need to be that expensive? No, but they're also a business who sees the opportunity to raise their prices like everybody else. I think it's kind of fucked up, but at the end of the day, people are still going to buy a Nintendo Switch. I think the upgrades they've made to the Nintendo are really nice, but that's also because I have a Nintendo Switch and the things that they've changed do matter. Now, if you don't,
let's hold that right there. Hold your thought right there. When it comes to the price, okay, here's what I just want to comment on, because here's kind of my issue. I'm Canadian, okay, and the Canadian dollar is absolute shit. Okay, that thing for me to buy the Mario Kart bundle is $6.99.
Oh,
$6.99 Canadian. Okay, so a lot of people when they take a look at the price, we're only kind of looking at it through our own lens, where we live, what it's priced at. Globally, I don't think that, and this is my issue. I am a Nintendo fan. I got a Switch sitting over there. I got a Nintendo 64 that's modified for HDMI in my closet right
Is
now.
it this one, Rox?
Is that the Mario Kart? But no, yes, no, that's a regular Nintendo Switch. Go to Amazon. Yeah, you have to go to Amazon.ca because that's the Canadian website, Amazon.ca, and then pull up Nintendo Switch. Amazon.ca. That's the Canadian Amazon. And pull up an. And actually, I'm pretty sure on Amazon.ca, I might be wrong, but I think you still actually need an invitation, a private invitation to buy one. It's stupid the way they had it set up.
Here it is.
But anyway, yeah, see, $6.99. Okay, that is a hefty price, in my opinion, for Mario Kart. Okay, and I'm not. Listen, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and because even with Mario Kart, I think they kind of screwed themselves a little bit, because they should have released this when they were releasing Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom, because I don't think Mario Kart is enough.
That is Zelda, Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was
Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom is Zelda. Yeah. I don't think Mario Kart is enough of a sell to be like.
I don't know, dude. Mario Kart's, bro. That Smash Brothers, like, that's the hard thing about Nintendo is this closed ecosystem. And gaming has decided that they now know that gaming is expensive, or that it's like valuable. Like it was always. Now they realize, we're like the most preeminent, the biggest form of entertainment, the biggest industry. And there's a switch that's flipped, that they're now determined on like this idea of how much should you pay per hour. And like they're looking at it being like, why do we put all this effort in? You're going to play this game for 1,000 hours and we're only making $60. And so that's, I think, what we're fighting against, is they've made up their mind industry wide that they're like, nah, dog, you're going to pay way more because we're giving you so many hours of entertainment. And as a gamer, I think that's what we're fighting against.
I just saw a comment from somebody that said that Katie, can you confirm this, since you have a Nintendo Switch? Can they brick your stuff?
Yes.
The new one they can. Apparently.
The new one they can.
Yes.
The old one, no. And I even agree with. I think it's wrong that the new one, the games, it's not a physical copy.
We're going to get into that, Katie. We're going to get into that, because that's part of.
Explain to me what this means, because I don't understand. I don't have a Nintendo.
So basically, if you
bricking something is like stopping it from working. You shut down. You have the capability of shutting down major functions to it and making it a brick. Basically,
the big controversy with that is basically if they can tell if you've modified your console, because these consoles are online. They connect to the Nintendo servers, right? Yeah. So if somebody goes in and modifies their console or runs some sort of third-party software on the Switch, Nintendo can recognize that, and they can basically hit the dead switch, shut it down, and your console will no longer work. Okay, this was something that, but this isn't new. Like the Xbox did this back in the day when they would ban people from Xbox Live, stop access from that. So companies have.
I remember back in the day, like people back in Chile would like unlock their PlayStations, just to like instead of using the original disc, they just burn it. Blu-ray. Yeah. Okay.
But
so same thing, but on okay, gotcha.
But then that also brings in the wider conversation of like when you own something, you technically should have the right to do what you want with what you've purchased. Like where is the line drawn where you are now the owner of this product, and Nintendo should not be limiting what you want to do with your product?
Because they don't care about the materials for which it was made. It's not about the materials in which it was made anymore. See, when you physically have something in your hand, it's tangible.
Hey, director, how you doing?
Tangible. So they no longer care about that. That little piece of plastic is not anything to them. It's what they can do with the connection to their Nintendo server the connection to the Sony servers and all of that. That's what's most important to them, not that little physical disc that you have in your hand.
Well, that's kind of where a lot of people see the industry shifting. I mean, I know Xbox sees that, which is why they're doing their Xbox everywhere type thing, where you can play your Xbox on the handheld, on the cell phone, on the computer, on the console. You know what I mean? Those lines are now disappearing. But let's bring it right back to Nintendo, because I do want to get your guys' thoughts and comments on the game key cards. So what a lot of people don't know is what Nintendo has decided to do this generation is the Nintendo Switch cards, I think, were 64 gigabytes max or something like that. So there was a limitation, like a Blu-ray disc, like what Sony uses for the PS5, can hold a lot more data than those little Nintendo Switch cards. But because now Nintendo is moving into bigger and bigger games, a lot of these, they're telling us that a lot of their games aren't going to fit on those cartridges. I find that hard to believe, because they managed to get Cyberpunk on one of those little cartridges completely. So that, to me, kind of throws that whole excuse out the window. But now what they've decided to do is, instead of selling you the full game on the card, they are selling you a card that is like a key code. You pop that into your Nintendo Switch, and now with that key code, you can download the game to your Nintendo Switch. And you can still take that game card, put it in another Nintendo Switch. It'll recognize the key, and you have to download it to that Switch as well. You get what I'm saying? So you can basically, you can still trade that key card in at some point, or sell it if you want to. But then there is also, again, the bigger problem where 10 years down the road, when there are no more Nintendo Switch 2 servers, that game card is just a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
You are not going to be able to, right? So I want to get your thoughts on that.
I hate it. Especially for Nintendo, where, like, dude, you go, like, look at the secondhand market for Nintendo. Those things have value. And like you said, 10 years from now, it's dubious at best. And I don't like that what was a permanent thing now has all these contingencies that have to go a certain way. It's like Steam, like the family plan, like where you can share games with more steps. Like, not like why even bother at that point? If you're going to go full digital,
just
go full digital.
Just go full digital, exactly.
Which I don't like either, but don't like have this stupid key thing where you still have the illusion, and it's because they know that's what it is. It's the illusion. They're trying to give the consumer the illusion that you still have something physical, so that next time, the next generation, they can take that away. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's more easily accepted. But also,
please continue.
I don't believe that shit about like them. If they're saying that the games are getting bigger, like, dude, this could have been solved with, you want it to be, I'm assuming, like, because they want the cross compatibility, from the old generation. Okay, dude, add a legacy port, because it doesn't take that much to put the old Switch games in, and on the other side, add a bigger port that will house this current generation's bigger games. Like, it's not that freaking crazy, like, come on now, like, or.
But Andy, that would be giving you what you want.
Yeah.
The innovation does not seem that.
No, they're lying. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're making up these ridiculous stories so that people who are simple-minded will be like, oh, they can't figure it out. This is the only way. When in reality, no, they just want more control. They want to be able to tell you that you can't play these certain games or take things away without having to go the extra steps, because technically at a certain point you won't own anything, because if they can break everything at any point.
That's what I wanted to ask is, what do you think the precedent that sets is? Do you see other companies adapting this same formula, where down the road, if you buy a PS5, there's going to be a key on the disc instead of the actual, or if you buy a PS5 game, there'll be a key on the disc instead of on the actual game on the disc?
PS5 doesn't even sell the disc games anymore anyway, do they?
You can get disc games.
They still have physical editions.
Okay.
Like, this all started, like, they used to say, like, there's a time when you would get a discount or something for, like, not having the physical version, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, they don't even talk about, or that idea was, like, floated. They don't even do it. It's the same price. It's so stupid. They're saving an enormous amount of money not having to, like, distribute, manufacture the physical copies. You're getting less
and
value.
They've been scaling back on that for years. When's the last time you bought a game that actually had a piece of game art inside of there? A manual.
Do you remember back, like we were talking about Grand Theft Auto? It came with a map.
The maps,
It had
the posters,
the manual.
yes,
Bro, they don't
everything.
give a shit.
And what, we were being charged $60 back then. So it's just it's kind of sucks to see the way the direction gaming is going. And listen, like I said before, I'm a Nintendo fan. I do want to get myself a Switch 2, but I can't justify $700 right now to play Mario Kart. Like, that's
crazy.
There's a line to draw there. For that price, I was able to pick up my kids a PS5 digital edition with 2 controllers and Astrobot for their birthday this year. You know what I mean? So I don't think the value is there. I think the hardware is what fans have been asking for. Everybody said back in the day, we need something that's exactly like a Switch, but just more powerful. Well, Nintendo gave it to us. This is it.
Yeah.
So I'm not against it. I think the product is I think it'll do well down the road. I think it's just going to take
just for the money is not worth it. Yeah. That's not worth it, bro.
Crazy.
It's a good product, and you see the hardware and it's where it needs to be. That's great, but you're charging me $700 to potentially brick my shit. No,
and that's $700 Canadian. Just so
now with the tariffs also, that's another topic.
I'm sure that's another factor, right? But yeah, I'm not against it. I like the hardware. I like what I'm seeing. It's just that price is I'm going to hold off.
So 1 second here. So Nate, just to remind, we are monetized. So I just haven't activated yet. So I've been holding that. But super chats,
what the?
I've been busy, Charles. I have a life. I work.
The show is over, sir. We'll talk about it. Oh boy, are we gonna talk?
It's not going to be unprepared. It'll be slacking Phil.
Slacking Phil. But we are. But we did take super chats. Just so you know. But okay.
Yes.
All right. So, shall we move on to the next topic?
Yes. WBD.
All right.
Zaslav. My favorite topic.
Sergeant's just said there's no sign of the money tab. Maybe we need to activate it to get the super chats going. We'll look into it, buddy. We'll definitely look into it.
Because I thought we solved that, but whatever. We'll
I thought we did. Yeah, we'll figure it out. I thought we did, but yeah. Anyway, latest WBD and Zaslav news. I know how we all love talking about Zaslav, Big Daddy Kane up there in WBD. Phil, you go ahead and take this one, man. He gonna make me throw up in my mouth again. Yeah.
Oh boy, guys, I am so tired of talking about this company and this CEO, but it is what it is.
Discovery is going to be splitting into 2 companies. That is the reason that I'm here. Not an unexpected outcome, perhaps, from any of its shareholders, of course. It was on May 8th that I'd reported that such a split was near, and that announcement is now occurring. Warner Brothers Discovery is going to be splitting into HBO Max, its streaming service, along with its.
So basically, in layman's terms, they're getting a divorce. And why are they getting a divorce? Because maybe the spouse is too much in debt and the other spouse don't want nothing with it. But here's the problem: if you split 2 companies, someone is going to have to take all that debt. Someone's going to have to keep, and someone's going to have to keep all that garbage.
I equate WBD to like a degenerate gambler. They just like, hey, I'm gonna put it all on this. I'm gonna always bet on black, and they just keep doing it. And every time they do,
here's the thing too. I mean, if anybody's been paying attention, everybody saw this coming. This is something that even Mikey Sutton back in the day, God rest his soul, spoke of, that they were going to sell again. They were going to split. So I think that's what we're seeing happen here. I think that's all playing out right in front of our eyes. So shout out to Mikey Sutton up in heaven right now, because he was right.
This was them.
Yeah, their stock right now is 1,003 pennies. For anybody that's interested, if they don't know what that is, that's $10.03. Everybody, $10 whole. I thought I'd break it down in pennies to kind of give you a.
Oh yeah, we love pennies, don't we?
How can you legitimately say and think that you are dunking on somebody with 1,003 pennies, dog? You can put all of that in a pillowcase. A sock, man. I'm just saying, bro.
You don't need a whole pillowcase for that, man.
You need a sock. You can put it in a sock.
No, you don't need, you're gonna you need a sock, dude. It won't fit. Like I tried the whole thing. Like,
did you?
Yeah, remember I had the whole bucket right here.
Yeah. Right. So their stocks are at $10.03. They've gone down 0.43 or whatever the heck. I didn't check I just checked it now, but so yeah, Zazzy, there was a vote. When was it, Phil? Like 2 weeks ago?
A couple weeks ago now, yeah.
A couple weeks ago. To reject his bonus or whatever it is, his raise or whatever they're calling that. Now, this is the first time that this has happened in what? How long has he been here? 3 years? 2 years? 3 years?
Now it's more or less. Yeah, like 3. We're going for almost 3
years. Yeah. So I will never understand the concept of paying a man that much money. I really wonder what these guys actually do. Like, what does this man really do?
Other than
his
going
actual
on
job
TV and take pictures with other celebrities on basketball games and all that.
Right, because it's the people below him that actually stitches these deals together and all of that good stuff. So I always often wonder what this guy actually did.
Thank you for reminding me, director. Let me pull that up also.
Yeah. Go ahead and pull up Netflix right quick.
Yeah, there's no point in hell I'll ever own a Netflix stock. That is
little too
that
high.
Is unattainable. It's unattainable for
is it over? Is it over $1,000? Look at that. $1,212.15 for one share.
And how much is that in pennies?
And they had done a stock split. This is following a split as well, where they.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't see how people can brag and be that grandiose about a company. And I was explaining to these guys weeks ago. To me, a stock report like this is like a report card or a progress report. So you know how you got quarters just like school. Mm-hmm. You got every quarter. This is it's a progress report. It's a report card that says how you are doing and where you are. This is not a good report card.
This is you're getting held back. This is we'll see you again next year.
This is exactly in the same grade. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
But here's the thing: how does he still make the money that he does? With all the debt that the company is in, how does the company justify paying this man what they pay him?
Well, they don't now because that's why it got rejected.
Well, no, so his raise got rejected.
No, his raise, he's still getting paid his raise. So it says Zaslav's 51.9 million paid. So it was lower than that. I think it was lower by like $10 million or some crap like that. And then he basically got a raise. They rejected it. So is that official now? Is they're not giving him this raise? Correct? Is that done deal?
Well, this is from June 3rd. All right, hold on. Let me
just type in. Did Zaslav get his raise or not? And a little AI will come up on
symbolic.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure
because he still may get it. Yeah, because he still might get that. Yeah, I think they were just showing their dissent and saying, you know what, we really don't want to give you this money.
Yeah,
we don't. I'm just letting you know you're gonna get your money, but I want you to know that all of us here, we don't want to give it to you. So
he gets paid more than Disney. Bob Iger doesn't.
The Disney CEO. Yeah. I think Bob Iger is in the double digits, just not as high, right? Where is he at?
Yep.
All right, here it is, Charles.
He made something like 49.7 million in 2023.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And now he's trying. They're trying to raise him up to 51. What was it? 51.9 or something like that.
51.9 million. Yep.
And so he got it regardless.
He got it
That's
regardless,
he
didn't he?
got it
Yep.
regardless. But at
Yep.
that point, it's like you're already making so much money. Like, what do you even do with all that?
It's a symbolic. Yeah,
That's
But that's Warner Brothers. I think he's doing exactly what they want him to do, which is just bleed it dry before the sale. Like
that's
Yeah.
been what we've been saying for a long time, and it'll all go back to James Gunn because I've been saying
money
for a long time that
laundering,
Gunn was a plant, and it seems like people are finally picking up on this narrative. I've noticed, but I've been saying it since day one. Gunn was put in there to take DC to Marvel, to take DC to Disney. That's why he's there. That has always been the plan. And Zaslav is letting it happen.
Dude, Zazie makes more than Iger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
That's insane.
Right there. Yeah, 49 million. 51.
Okay, not
Zazie.
that much. Yeah, they're not there. They're all in the double digits, pretty up
So yeah,
there.
so Zazie makes 10 million more than Iger.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Paramount's just killing it.
Damn, 87?
Insane.
it says it includes his severance package worth 69 mil. So
That makes sense.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Who's got 80? What do you see? What?
But it's like that's what I'm
Holy
trying to say is
crap.
that at the end of the day,
Yeah,
does this symbolic vote even mean anything? Nothing's gonna change.
No.
Right?
yeah, it's just more rot. By the way, it's
I
just
think it was just, that vote was just to send a message. Just to send a message to Zazie
Yeah.
that we don't like what you're doing. You know? But hey, listen, like I said, the split's gonna happen. Fine, it is what it is. But one of those, because it's two new companies, two IPOs. One of them will thrive, the other one will fail. That's just the reality. There's no way, because the problem is like on the video said right here, is that the linear TV is the problem. It's not the movies, it's the linear TV. So you separate that, the linear one might be the one that doesn't survive. The movie studio, we'll see, depending who buys it. You know?
Yeah. What were you about to say, Katie?
Yeah, I was gonna say because they said the TV takes on the bulk of the debt, and it's his friend who's taking over that side
the
because
CFO.
the CFO because he gets
CFO.
20% stake in the streaming
Yeah.
though, and so he gets 20% stake in the streaming because he's gonna get paid once they actually get bought, because they're saying right now they're seeing whether or not they'll be able to merge with one of the other two streaming services. It's either going to be Paramount or Peacock. And so if neither one of them want to merge with them, then they're going to have to sell it. And they were looking at Apple or Amazon.
I was hearing Comcast.
Really?
That's what I was hearing. But
Really?
I mean,
You got Apple and Amazon, huh?
That's what we were.
That's what they were speculating, but it was all
Well,
speculation.
maybe that's why they're doing the screening of Superman through Amazon Prime and all that shit. Maybe
that is
I
a
don't know.
good connection.
Oh,
That might
yeah.
be, you definitely might be onto something.
There have been rumors of them trying to sell for years now, like since we started the channel, and it always kind of fell flat. I wonder if it was because no company wanted to take on that enormous amount of debt.
But yeah, and since now they've split, it looks a lot sweeter.
Yeah.
Here's another article that I wanted to share with you guys before we'll move on to the next topic. But I didn't get it in too deep on it because I saw this a little too late. But the headline itself pretty much says it all. They're going to be reviewing the same problem, the same issue that was AT&T. Because remember, this is going to be the third sell.
Yeah.
First, it was Warner Media,
Mhm.
Warner Bros. Discovery, and now this one. If you think the third one's a charm, I don't think
at
so.
it, Hoss. But yeah,
Because I said one company will fail and the other one will survive, but you can't have both. That's just the reality. That's how I at least see things. But we'll see what happens. You know, all I say is while it's closed July 11th.
Yeah.
You know.
Hashtag Henry Cavill Superman.
All right. So let's move on to our before we talk about the Superman topics. I think we should honor Henry Cavill Superman in this moment. Don't you agree?
Yes. 12 years. 12 years.
I think so. Katie,
What
that
you got,
smile, you're
Phil?
like, when I saw that smile, I was like, okay, perfect. All right, let's go. Let's
What
talk
you
about
got,
this.
Phil?
All right, guys. So we Rox here found something that he wanted us to share with all y'all. So let's play.
Be an outcast, a freak, a killer.
No. You'll be a god to them. Why am I so different from them? That's so much younger and brighter than Krypton's was. The cells are drunk in its radiation. You've grown stronger here than I ever could have imagined. You are not alone.
You are not alone.
You are not alone. You are not alone.
Man of Steel. 12 years, ladies and gentlemen. 12 fucking years since Zack Snyder made history and gave us the best live action modern day Superman interpretation.
Which
The
still
version
looks
that we're
a
still
million times better than anything that has come out to date. Let's be
amen.
real.
Yeah.
Guys, you are our guests. We want your thoughts.
On Man of Steel,
Mhm.
Henry Cavill's the goated Superman. Like we watched Man of Steel what, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we were on a panel debating it, and I think every year more people appreciate how good of a film it is. There's so much dishonesty. It's very hard to talk about the film, and this is not like just a Man of Steel phenomenon. I mean, there's a lot of dishonesty in all the comic book movies right now, but
especially
like one of the things, like we were talking to someone, and they're like, "Oh man, I just typical shit." You know, there's just so much slow motion. There's actually no slow motion. Like there's like it's not like there's not.
You're right. You know what? There isn't. There isn't no much snow. You're right. I just noticed that. Yeah.
Do you know why?
No,
Because Zack Snyder came up with the idea. No, excuse me, not Zack Snyder. He expounded on it. But David Goyer wrote the script, and David Goyer said that he wanted this film to be like shot like a documentary. Not like a super duper action film that you would normally see with slow mo and all that. He said he wanted it shot documentary style, some handheld camera stuff, all of that. That's exactly what we got. Yep.
That makes so much sense.
That's why
I've never understood the confusion around the film, because it's pretty obvious, given that Nolan and Goyer were involved with this, that it was supposed to be a continuation of what worked with the Dark Knight trilogy. I don't know why this became the cultural moment that everything in the geek space became this fight. I don't know. We talk about it all the time on the channel. I don't buy into this narrative that you can only have one interpretation of a character. Like you can have different
52 fucking universes.
Universes. Thank you. I've been talking about that all the time till I'm blue in the face. I keep saying that. You have 52 universes to play with. Open that up, man. Get these creatives in here. Get Guillermo del Toro to do a dark
Swamp
DC.
Thing.
Do a Swamp Thing. Do something. Get these guys in here. That's all you got to do. And I promise you, these people will start coming back in droves. They will.
Shit is fucking dope, man.
But you are forcing people. You are forcing people to take James Gunn's version of the DCU and nothing else. He's saying you're gonna take this. And I remember there was a comment that he made. Remember, you guys probably remember this, Rox and Phil. Somebody asked him about why he does what he does, and he says that he does it because it works, and he'll stop doing it when it stops working, or some shit like that. He said that in a Twitter post.
What works?
The buffoonery.
Oh,
The buffoonery. He says he does it because it works. That lets you know that he's not in it for the artistry or for the creativity. He's just a hired gun, so to speak.
So to speak.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. I'm just saying that's he made the point though. He made the point of saying, I'm just a guy behind the camera to give you buffoonery. When it stops working, then I'll stop doing it. That's what he said.
It's his formula.
So,
it's what he knows.
That's his formula. Yeah.
It's just his style. But and I completely agree with Andy of just like there's just a lot of dishonesty surrounding Man of Steel. Because even the stuff people were kind of arguing about while we were watching the movie, it's more so people just having.
Please go deep and highlight that. Highlight. What were you guys arguing about?
Everything.
So I feel like the opening scene, no one argues about the opening scene.
Amazing. The whole scene on Krypton was phenomenal. We had never seen something like that before.
Exactly. So I feel like
Superman
that's
film.
like probably the thing that's the least or if never argued about. It's more so people are just upset about in their head the things they would have done differently, and I think that's a stupid argument.
Mistaking preference with opinion.
Yeah.
There is a difference, by the way. You can have an opinion, but if your opinion is just I would have done it differently, well, that's not really film criticism. And you'll often hear people say things like, well, it doesn't make sense. And I mean, I would argue there's nothing in the film that doesn't make sense. Like that's against like a sloppy criticism.
We're talking about a man in a cape who's flying in the sky. None of it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's superhero movies, guys.
Well, and
This is called interpretation. When people go to art galleries, what do? You got two people watching the same painting or looking at the same painting or whatever. One of them might have a different opinion than the other one. One of them is going to see something differently in that painting than you will. But both of them, for some reason, has elements about that painting that they like. So they don't really dislike it. It's just like, I don't like this particular thing. I don't like that particular, but they're both drawn to it. They're both in the gallery and they're into the art. And that's why they are there to give their honest opinions about what they see. And that's the problem. They're not doing that. Zack Snyder is a hack. Well, can you expound on that, please? Can you give me an example of what that means? He puts too much slow-mo in his movies. Huh?
Like, well, Man of Steel doesn't have slow-mo, but like
what? Right.
So
like what?
There's just silly things that like I feel like people kind of lean back on to be like their criticism of the movie is not honest. And then I feel like a lot of the stuff
which is, by the way, just a caveat, which is a shame because I have no problem if people have legitimate things that they don't like about the film. I like hearing other people's opinions. But we've been told for over a decade there's a right and wrong way to enjoy Superman. And I've liked, from Dean Cain to Smallville to like Christopher Reeve, I like the character of Superman. I like Superman Returns for what it is. I find it weird that now the narrative is we need less of this character. And it needs to be this
one version.
Any idea why?
Well, if we're being my personal opinion would be that James Gunn
be brutally honest, because if I think our opinions might exactly be the same. Go ahead. What is your thought on that?
It's very clear James Gunn doesn't like competition.
I think it's that, but I think more than that.
No way.
But I don't think it's just James Gunn. I think it's Warner Brothers, dude. Like we've said for forever, bro, that company is in trouble. Do you think they can afford to float two different interpretations of Superman right now? It's like, dude, look what's going on with the Batman film.
Yeah, like that.
Like, why is
I'm
that
still
taking
in-
so
No,
long?
but that's getting delayed because again, James Gunn doesn't want like Katie said it perfectly. Competition. That's what it is. They didn't have to cancel Superman and Lewis. They didn't have to cancel it. They canceled it because, like I said,
That was a
competition.
phenomenal show, by the way. Every time we talk about it, I have
That
to just
show was
highlight
great.
how good
Yeah.
of a show that was. How great of a separate Superman IP that was, that could have continued, but didn't because of one person and one person's decision.
My conspiracy theory is the entire hiring of James Gunn is the best person you can hire if you're a studio that is in deep, deep trouble that wants to slowball fans until you sell the company. Because
well, also, yeah, yes, that's true. But also,
words, it's not a bug; it's a feature.
Right.
That's what he said.
And also, Andy, remember also something like when Zazie was. This was before Cavill had to say, "I'm not back." Zazie was trying to find a DC honcho, and nobody wanted the fucking job.
Yeah.
Dan Lin was supposed to was the frontliner for the job, and now he's at Netflix. Nobody wanted this job. So
And technically,
again,
if
and this is
Zaslav
why
didn't even
let me finish,
hire.
Rock, let me finish.
Sorry,
Let me
go
finish
ahead,
before I lose
go ahead.
this. And this is why we go back to what we were talking previously today in the show. Why WBD still has people that just don't fucking get it. C'est la vie. Peter Safran.
Well, that was the thing I was going to say is that Zaslav technically hired Safran, and Safran hired Gunn. That's how that
exactly.
all out. So that's
So
how you
again,
end up with the same idiots running the circle.
If you want Warner Brothers to return to its former glory, you need to fucking purge everybody in that building from top level executives
because
to
here's
the security guard.
That's exactly what I was getting to in the conversation in the beginning. I was like, there is a cancer in there, and it's all got to be cut out. Y'all are only cutting about little bitty pieces, and you need to cut that entire. You need to cut that entire thing. Hey, Sin Havoc. So, but that's what I think. I think that he hired Safran. Safran said no Cavill. He went to Zaslav and said, "This is Peter to Zaslav. No Cavill." Zaslav came back and said, "Gunn, come here. Go tell your boy no." That's what I think happened. Once he hired Safran, he went to Zaslav and said, I can give you your Marvel, but you got to get rid of Cavill. And they used Gunn to do it. Yeah. So no, Gunn didn't directly fire Cavill. Gunn was following orders from Zaslav. That's how the shit went down.
Yeah, and so that's why I think they want it to be the conversation about Gunn. I think we started talking with you guys on this podcast, bro. What is going on at Warner Brothers? What do we know? They're in huge financial problems. They're splitting the company. They're pulling shenanigans to try and move the debt around. And I look at all this, and if you were to say, like, hypothetically, what would have been the most logical person if you were to reboot this whole thing? You wouldn't have gone Gunn. You would have gone Christopher Nolan. Yes. Somebody who that's heyday of it's never been better, right? That's DC at its most popular, the most culturally relevant. And you would have said, let's just back up the bus, drop as much money as it takes to get Christopher Nolan to come, write us an outline to oversee it with like whoever, Goyer, his brother, whoever. And you would just make that work. But if you have Christopher Nolan come in, what type of projects do you expect from him? Huge, expensive spectacles. You don't get away with releasing Peacemaker season 2, Creature Commandos. You can only do that because people will look at Gunn and say that's his style. So I think they went knowing that money is a problem, and they hired a director who they could be like, we're not broke. That's what he wants to make. He doesn't want to make Wonder Woman. He doesn't want to make Batman. He wants to make Creature Commandos, Clayface, things that they can get away with.
Sergeant Rock,
while they consolidate.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. They're consolidating. This is what a company does when it's out of money and they're trying to look better to their shareholders. They're canceling stuff. They're delaying indefinitely. And we all know half of these things will never see the light of day. They've taken all the stuff that they said they're going to make. And what really annoys me is there are people who are looking forward to that. And now they're going through the exact same disillusionment that people that like Cavill. You know, that
have gone through it with the Snyder movement and all that. Yeah. And mark my words, it's going to happen with Gunn. those same people right now who are, pro James Gunn, there's going to be coming a time where you guys are going to be fighting for him to come back because it's a cycle.
Yeah,
It's a
well,
cycle
not
that
even, right
keeps
now
repeating.
we're hearing with the current Superman film that they cut 20 minutes out of it,
Yes.
and
Mhm.
Gunn's having to go out there and say like he wasn't forced to do anything. But in reality, later on, you're probably going to hear how,
We all know.
yeah, like
Yeah,
we all
6
know.
months down the road after the movie comes out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And David Ayer was a good little soldier too. He signed off on it, and then years later said, "Actually, no, they fucked with my shit, and I'm pretty pissed."
Yeah,
There
that's
you
what-
go.
Yeah.
How long before there's a
And
gun?
and Muschietti the same thing. These guys, listen, Muschietti, nothing against him, but he ain't no David Ayer. He ain't no Zack Snyder. And a lot of these guys, just like you and me, we got to work, pay bills, feed the family. So a lot of these directors and actors that maybe don't agree with what's happening, but hey, that's their livelihood. They got to eat. So
yeah.
I think they like to pit fans against one another because the person that doesn't get held accountable is the studio, and this studio.
And wasn't that the first thing James
will.
Gunn did when he came in as CEO? Was make that stupid comment about a fractured fan base and how a certain section of the fan base isn't going to enjoy this movie. Like,
Why would you
did
say
that
something
himself?
like that? Right. And it's like, why would you they found the
Pitting
perfect
fans
vessel
against each other.
They found the perfect vessel in James Gunn because he likes to run his mouth. You know he's going to. He's got a huge ego. He's got to talk shit online. And they found the perfect vessel. Yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm like, you are both a creative and a CEO at the same time. How in the fuck do you find time to hash it out with somebody online all the time?
Yeah.
How in the fuck do you
He's
do
got
that, bro?
He's got the AI doing his work, bro. I'm telling you.
Well, and how advantageous is it for them that his stance was everything goes through me? Like I have to. So now you've got this delay mechanism because again, you don't have there's just no chance that you're going to be like out the gate swinging 3-year plan. We want Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Supergirl. That's that's well over like over $1 billion just in production cost alone. You don't have to front that because they can slowball it, and it's about the script has to be just right. And you've got one guy taking over. He's going to be directing here and there. Again, it's such a beautiful narrative for why it's going to be slow, why they're not going to hit the gates running. I think it's all manufactured.
Yeah. Speaking of which, let's roll right on into it.
Hold on. Before that, we got to show this. I got to show this. Man. Oh, wait. Nope. Hold on.
Hurry up, man.
Henry Cavill. Look how he looks. He looks like
he's got that. He's got the
red carpet.
Yep.
This time with his stunning fiancée Natalie Viscoso at the Taormina Film Festival in Italy. Rocking a classic tux and showing off longer, curlier hair, the Witcher star looks sharp. Natalie turned heads in a glowing
Wait for it, guys.
proudly
Wait
showing
for
her
it.
sparkling ring. The couple recently welcomed their first baby and have been keeping things low.
Will you look at that?
That's the shot.
Henry Cavill still is Superman for a lot of people, not just us neat nerds online, general audience. And I saw the whole. This isn't the video I wanted to show, but this is the only one I could find now. But he is in a lot. He was in the films cans, I think, or something like that. A lot of people autographs. A lot of people with Man of Steel posters and shirts. Like, guys, this man, and we said this on the stream also previously on a previous video he did with Patrick Stewart, Sir Patrick Stewart.
Yes,
he represents Superman. It's part of his representation. You're going to see this man for until he dies with that S.
Yeah,
this S right here represents Superman, and he is Superman.
The other thing I really liked is I saw a lot of people.
And Corsewood, hold on. Let me finish my point. And Corsewood, I'm sorry, brother, you got to earn it. And up to this point, to me at least, in my opinion, no, sir.
I was seeing a lot of people online.
Go ahead.
They were sorry, I was seeing a lot of people online. They were focusing on the long hair and highlighting how it really does look like Superman after his death and return when he came back with the long hair. It's like at the perfect length. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of which, all right. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we going over budget here. But Superman pre-sales. I wanted you guys take on it. What's really real? Because well, you know. Well, you know. What's your take, man? What is your honest take? What do you think's going on?
I'm gonna go first because Andy has like a whole thing because he's to argue with so many people. But
we love it.
He's blushing.
But no, the pre-sale tickets. So I despise the entire hype around the pre-sale tickets for this as well as for Fantastic Four because in my personal opinion, it's kind of bullshit. Otherwise, they would have actual numbers. We continue to see articles being written about how it was like the best of 2025. They knocked it out of the park. It was like so amazing, super high numbers, yet no one can give me an actual number. And so I just think it's hype. They want people to be excited. They want people to think it's doing well. And they want people to be feared. Like they want to FOMO. They want people to fear missing out and be like, oh, well, if tickets are already sold out, then, or if tickets are doing so well, then I really should go buy a ticket too. And so I think they're just trying to create hype. And personally, I mean, their marketing for Superman has been so awful this entire time. I don't see how magically now it's just like, oh, they have the best pre-sale tickets.
We share the same opinion. I knew that's what she was going to say because I said the same thing. I said, hey, look, The Flash started off with those high numbers. Other films have started off with those high numbers. And as the time got closer to release, the numbers just went down and down and down and down. And I said that this is not going to be any different. It is really easy these days. And I keep telling these people this. God, I miss the days in newspapers when you didn't find out news until like 2 days later. But I keep telling these people this information comes so fast. All you got to do is pick up your phone and look at it, and you're locked in like you just got hypnotized by the anti-life equation, and then you believe it.
Yeah.
Just read past the headlines.
I'm like, listen, people, you, especially the young people, present company obviously excluded in this. You guys seem to be smarter than the average bear. So, but the rest of y'all, damn, y'all stupid.
Yeah. Well, and like read past the headline. If you actually read the article, which they are assuming you won't do.
Well, they know that that's not what people want. Yeah. The framing of it is very dishonest. It's also very obvious, like it was going to that was going to be the headline because that's the only form of marketing that they do with superhero stuff now is it's going to be the best. And I do want to point out that when this was announced, this DCU, people, again, before you had even seen the first concept photo, the narrative was this is going to be the best Superman ever. It's going to be the Superman for everyone. It's going to heal the fandom. It's going to be the one that we finally deserve. And then recently, in about a 2-week cycle, it shifted to it's going to make a lot of money. Whether or not it's good, it's going to make a lot of money. Now there are people saying, well, it actually doesn't even need to make money. That does not scream to me optimism. That screams to me that, well, the pass down.
Well, actually,
the narrative
Campy has been saying that for a long time also. So this isn't new. Like these shills are planting the seed. Like the movie doesn't have to be making a lot of money. It just has to get going. It has to like get the rules going. That's what they're trying to.
I read one today that said it doesn't have to have quality.
Really?
Yes. What are you talking about? I was like, look, guys, and this is my belief. There is a reason why the word cinema exists now in the lexicon, because it is 65 to 70% of why you're going. You are going to see the spectacle. Yes, the dialogue is linking everything together like it should, or at least it's the way it's supposed to be. But in general, you're going for the spectacle. Why would I pay for a film that has graphics so bad and CGI so bad that it's going to take me out of the film?
Looks like a PS4 game, bro.
Well,
You're
what
about
I've
to
seen.
set me off with these headlines, by the way. This is one of the biggest things that I've argued for the past month, because out of nowhere, every single person is citing box office theory. I don't think people have even read his methodology. First of all, they're like, oh, well, he's been right all these times. First off, he gives a range, dog. That's an estimate. You don't get to guesstimate and be like, bro, I guess it was going to make anywhere between 130 and 190 million, and it made 160. Bro, look at me. Bro, what? Secondly, he adjusts his range up until the day it's released. So why would you take his stuff 2 months out and say, wow, bro, he could. And so I was jokingly saying, it's like, dude, it's going to open to $1 billion, because I'm not going to be outshone, because that's obviously what we're doing. We're trying to just be the most clickbaity, like, what's the highest number? Because that's what people want to hear. It's going to be the most successful film of all time. So you heard it here first. It's going to open to $1 billion. It's going to be a $10 billion film. Angels will dance from heaven, and it will be the unifying moment. There'll be peace on earth, and everybody's going to stop.
I know, right?
They're trying to manufacture credibility. You know what I mean?
But
exactly. It's easy to see this stuff, and it comes so fast. The moment you pick it up, you're like, oh my God. And they're trying to hypnotize you into watching this film.
By the way, the guy was so off on Minecraft. He said Minecraft was going to open to $70 million. Look at his projection for Sinners. So off. He was still, up until the week before Snow White, he thought Snow White was going to make money. He thought it was going to, like, he said, if you look at his reasoning, it's a level of assumptions. He says, despite the rhetoric online, it was essentially, people are going to want to go see this film. People didn't go see that film. We went and saw that film. We were like the only people in our theaters that went and saw that film. And he just
as if the line, despite the rhetoric online, is going to go get me to see it. That's not going to get me to go see that film.
There was no interest, and we knew there was no interest in Snow White. Dude, when Captain America 4 came out, bro, we're like, dude, people aren't interested in that. Yeah. Like, it's like, and of course, like, everybody wanted to make it about race and all these things. Like, dude, there's just no hype. There's
and this is coming from me, and my skin is black, everybody, and I want everybody to know this. I sat in bed one day and I watched Captain America 4.
Brave New.
That film was not good. I'm trying to tell you guys, it has nothing to do with I mean, yeah, people want to see. Okay, that's a separate thing. There's this. I believe that there's a segment of people out there that do, is however small, whatever it is.
They're always going to have a problem with it. Yeah,
always going to have a problem with it, no matter what. But I'm talking about the majority of us who are smart enough to know that it really isn't about him. It's about the story.
Yes.
And the story was terrible.
That was one of the sloppiest films I've ever seen.
Exactly. Captain America.
It was like 4 reshoots.
Yes. Exactly. Captain America Civil War should have been the one about the Serpent Society, not this film. They changed it because of BVS. They scrapped everything, and they were like, nope, we're not going to make the Serpent Society story anymore. We're going to make it about Helmut Zemo and Steve Rogers and Iron Man fighting together, because that's what BVS is doing. That's exactly what they did. And then they tried to squeeze Anthony Mackie into this role after his retirement and make that about the Serpent Society, but it was kind of not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not. It was just. Yeah, it was just like, I was like, come on. That's why it was bad. It has nothing to, that's why it was bad.
That's the thing. That's also a movie that people don't want to be honest about.
Yes.
Because it would rather pretend it has something to do with race or bigotry, when in reality it has none of those things.
Anthony Mackie is my dude.
It wants to blame the audience.
Yeah, he's a great actor. That's got nothing to do with it, man. I'm telling you, this film was bad. It was not a good film. It just wasn't. I hated the fact that, if you notice, the music in Civil War and in Winter Soldier, they had actual scores, soundtracks. In number 4, they had your playlist, like you were listening to music, like just regular music you would listen to. I noticed that was gone. The VFX were terrible. It looked like they were sitting on a sound stage. You could tell it was just, everything was off about that entire thing. And then it was these stupid clips and these stupid jokes that they kept trying to insert in there. I was just like, no, I'm done. I'm done.
No, I think I think they do what they always do when films don't pan out the way the studio wants it to, and it's what we alluded to earlier: blame the audience, and it's always the audience's fault.
It's always our fault.
Yeah, it's always our fault. Now, I want to go back to
also
Superman.
the issue with. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish up.
Yeah, Ross, let her talk, man. She's the only. Man, you better let her talk.
Be a gentleman.
No, good, my bad. No, I just wanted to also point out, because I feel like the discourse we're having currently about Superman online is the same thing that happened to Andy and I when we were talking about Captain America 4 leading up to it. It's not just the studios, it's also the audience and the fandom who are attacking other people rather than actually wanting to have an honest conversation about what's going on.
Dude, we lost people. We have people saying like, when this film makes $1 billion, you bigots are going to look so stupid. But we've never heard from them ever since, because clearly it didn't make $1 billion. You know,
but it's people not wanting to have honest conversations about what's going on and what we're seeing, and that's the same thing that's happening with Superman. I'm so tired of people trying to decide whether or not we're like a Snyder cultist or a Gunn cultist, rather than just having an honest conversation about being fans of DC. Like, we can clearly with our eyes see these trailers and we want to discuss them, and yet somehow it's like you're not supposed to
talk about certain.
We're not supposed to We're not supposed to criticize it.
Yeah, as one of your drops on your channel, the gun is good.
Like, so I'm not supposed to criticize what I'm clearly seeing, even though that's
with my own eyes. I'm like,
exactly. Supposed to put me to go see the film. Like, that makes no sense. And then also all of the stuff behind the scenes of the leaks and the stuff we've been hearing about the reshoots. Those are the same things that happened with Captain America that we wanted to discuss on our channel. And we're like, dude, this film's going to be bad. Like, you don't secretly, like, behind the scenes, fire the director leading up to the release of the film and then bring someone new in to rewrite entire scenes and to reshoot things if things are going well.
And that parallels Superman as well, because it's like they had to fired the who was it? They fired a marketing guy. They fired
an editor, a composer.
Yes, the editor, the composer.
They brought in additional.
Wrong with Josh.
Yeah.
And this we've been hearing about
with
this
Josh
just a few weeks
ago.
ago.
The text.
So that was just a few weeks ago. You know what I mean? So they would have had to have worked real quick to get this final cut out there. You know what I'm saying? But I did want to make a comment about the pre-sale tickets, because I never got to make my comment on that. What I see going on there, it does parallel what happened with The Flash, but it's kind of the opposite. Because what they did with The Flash was they were giving away so many free fan screenings. If you remember, it was free fan screening after free fan screening after, because in my opinion, the conspiracy on my end is they were intentionally, somebody in there was intentionally trying to bring down that box office. That's why so many fans got so many screenings over and over. I know some people in our fandom that probably saw that movie like 3 or 4 times before it was even released.
Yeah,
like that's crazy.
And on top of that, they're doing stuff with Superman, because they're actually giving away tickets for what was it?
It's like underprivileged children or something.
Yes, but with Superman, the way they're promoting it is actually the opposite. I don't see free fan screenings, pre-sale, promote the pre-sale, because they want the film to make money. So I wanted to point out those parallels, because it's a similar situation, but it's kind of the opposite what the company's doing in the background. So,
well, and what's sad is they've changed the discourse. We used to talk about films as, was it good? Did I like it? Now, sadly, a big part of people discussing it online is,
how you doing? It's been a while.
Hey, Mr. Well, how you doing?
Sorry, Andy, I didn't catch what you said at the end there. I wanted to hear what you said there.
No, they've made it, and you see it in, like, the trades, Access Media. Like, now it's about, did it do well? And they're trying to create this like rah around the studio. And so they're going to try. I mean, we all know that this film's going to be front loaded, right? Every superhero film is incredibly front loaded. It's going to, like all of them, make most of its money in that first weekend. The reason they're like talking about that so much is because nobody wants to talk about what the drop off is going to look like.
In the second weekend, they're terrified.
Yep.
And really, after the second weekend, it doesn't really make money.
It's done after that. That's right.
Yeah.
All right, so let me pull this last video. Sin Havoc sent this. Just sent this to me, but actually, this is your rant, Charles. But
is that my rant?
Of course, it's your rant. Like, Charles, your rants are so legendary. Your Matthew Days and all that.
I can't help it, man. I just, when I see stupidity, I must correct it.
But you take a migraine pill for that, don't you?
Yeah, I do. A couple of them. If you guys, he's making fun of me. Katie and Andy, he's making fun of my age. I'm 50. I'll be 52. July 20th.
Charles, you look fucking great for 52 years old. So I don't know what the fuck you're complaining. I'm gonna be 42 next. I'm gonna be 42 in August. I look fucking great at 30. I look like I'm 30. Just saying. So
yeah,
it's
okay,
just a
that
number,
baby
Charles.
face.
It's just a number. All right, let's play this video.
What I'm trying to say here is that I don't even think this movie needs to be profitable to be successful. What I'm trying to say here is that I don't even think this movie needs to be profitable to be successful.
That hurts my ears when he says that. I'm just like, are you serious right now? You actually said the words, I don't think this movie needs to be profitable to be successful. My guy, all these people do is think about money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They sleep with money in their pillows. It's what they use as a pillow, bro. And you're saying it doesn't need to make money? Make that make sense.
I've seen
Andy,
that argument.
what's your thoughts on that, bro?
They need to make money.
I saw like about 2 weeks ago that just became the standard kind of like everybody started saying that. And I mean, I think a lot of people have been like informed that Warner Brothers is in a bad place. And I think that there's this fear of calling just balls and strikes. If there was ever a company where that was the complete opposite, it's Warner Brothers, dude. Like they're the most freak out, reactive
company we know. Like this is not Disney. Now, if this was Disney, I could understand that.
I can imagine Disney floating because we're seeing them like letting a couple bad movies go out and just taking it on the chin, dude. Warner Brothers, the whole narrative under the DCEU under like was that it wasn't making enough money. That's why that they had to change it. Okay, so if we're gonna be people of integrity, like I'm talking about like Warner Brothers, then surely that's still the metric. Like
wouldn't that be the standard? Wouldn't that be the bar that you guys want to top because you've restarted this entire universe?
Yeah. I heard Nerdrotic made a point. He said, if this film doesn't outgross the adjusted gross for Man of Steel, they'll never hear the end of it. And if it doesn't outgross the unadjusted Man of Steel, the 670, then whoa. Like, and that's my only thing is like, why do all this if it isn't more profitable? Like, we know businesses only care about money. If they go and they reboot it and it makes money, then you're like, okay, well, that's businesses doing business stuff. Now that there's excuses for why it doesn't need to do that, you have to start asking, like, well, what's the motivation of business that's not concerned with making money?
Thank you.
Like,
yes.
What company suddenly decided, you know what? We're doing something different this year. We hate making money here, right? And everybody's around the table like,
Gunn himself said that it has to make money, otherwise there's not going to be a DCU.
Thank you.
I don't know where this.
And so, why are we pretending that's not written, like in an actual interview written down? Like, Gunn
By the way,
himself said it has to make money.
Katie, let me stop you there for a second. Rox, 1 second. I gotta address this. Studios will soon studios will come to the Lethal Geeks as well as for their subscription increased. We're not for sale. Just to let you know right there. We're not for sale.
Let me go ahead and make it perfectly clear for you. Guess what? We don't do that here. We do this show every 2 weeks. Do you know why we do this show every 2 weeks? Because we got real world shit to deal with. Would we like to expand and be bigger and be more popular? Absolutely, but we are not doing it for us. We are trying to get We're trying to get the fans together like we were once before. That is why we do this. We're not about to sell out to Warner Brothers or anybody else for that reason. We are here for the people that like to come. The 158 people that are in this audience right now, that's the reason why we're here. That's the reason why we're here. Any money we make from monetization or whatever it is going to go into producing this channel to make it better. We ain't going to be doing commercials for Sleepy Time Tea. We ain't going to be doing commercials for diapers or anything else. You can forget all that. This show is for them, the people that are sitting in here. And I like having fun and talking about this shit. That's the reason why I'm here. I'm bored. I need something to talk about.
You're not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Hey, you remember? You remember? What was that? What was that show? Knocked Up? Was it Knocked Up with Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd? Okay, so remember when he was sneaking out and doing it, and his wife thought he was cheating, but he just had like fantasy football or whatever the hell it was he was doing. That's me. I'm not doing anything for money at all. I like coming here talking about this stuff. That I do. I mean, I liked comics as a kid. I'm a movie buff too. So movies that's my jam. That's why I like coming here. I like discussing that stuff with you guys. I like discussing it with the audience and our chat and all that. That's literally the only reason why I'm doing this. I don't have to be here. I could be doing other stuff, but I'm here every 2 weeks, and that's why we do it every 2 weeks. We're busy. But when we do come, we like to talk about this stuff with everybody and get your ideas and get your opinions. We're not for sale, and we never will be. That's it.
Yeah. We gotta go back to arguing again as well. Like
Andy and Katie, I want to know. So, like, we've been discussing the budget of Superman, if it has to make money, if it doesn't have to make money, all that. What do you guys think happens next? Let's say this movie does not beat Man of Steel numbers. Let's just say it doesn't make the money that Warner Brothers would like it to make. What do you think happens next? Do you think that there is a path forward for the rest of James Gunn's DCU, or do you think that that is going to be put on hold indefinitely, maybe until WB restructures and figures out what the heck is going on?
So we might have different answers, but I personally think you'll get Supergirl because it's already done, so that will still come out,
Right.
and then it will be sold to somebody else, and that whether that be just DC and someone buys pieces of it, or whether it's just the entire like streaming service like they have and all of their IPs go to somebody else, it will be sold to somebody else.
So you don't think there's a
buy the damn
possibility?
IP, please.
Yeah, you don't think that there's a possibility though that Supergirl could go the way that Batgirl went?
No, just because they would want to keep up appearances and because they want it to look still profitable to somebody
To sell.
and
Gotcha.
because they're trying to sell it.
We had this talk with Sil also. Sil's sources told him that Gunn will get his slate out. That's already in the can. Lanterns.
It's already in the can.
Peacemaker, Shitmaker, season 2,
Yeah, like those are all done.
and Supergirl. Yeah. After that, it's TBD.
It's up in the air. Yep.
What about you, Andy? Do you think that's the same thing, or do you have any other thoughts you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to where they are. Like, one of my friends and I have been thinking, like, from day one, this whole thing with Superman was about drumming up as much hype because, I mean, dude, look what type of CEO Zaslav is. He's not the type to build shit, Drew.
No.
He's the type to either break things apart, sell them, or to strip them down to their most basic sellable things, whether that's like reality TV or whatever. I think that the conversation that they didn't like was what the value of these things were. And because they had run DC into the ground, they're not going to sell it for what the perceived value was. So they need one big like push.
They need a hit. They need a hit.
They need one hit. Yeah.
Costello, do you see Sid Havoc's comment there? Pull that up. Be interesting because he's got a different take.
Supergirl has.
You know what, Sin? Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Sin, when the fuck are you gonna come to the show? Seriously.
I know. When are you gonna come to the show, and I want to see what you look like, because the information that you give is generally spot on. So you need to come to the. We need
calling you out, Sin. We're calling you out. Sin. Come on, man.
Bro. I don't know how you know it. You know it. I don't know where you are. You're sitting up on high somewhere. There, we're about to start fire sale. Go back. They was about to start reshoots, and that got halted. Holy shit.
Because I was gonna say, because technically they said it was done. So if they were trying to do reshoots, then yes, that makes sense. If they were like, no, they didn't do those.
By the way, his slate has already changed.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Dude, when was the last time you heard about that Waller show? When, like, Clayface?
Right.
That was done?
Didn't he say something about Swamp Thing as well? Wasn't there supposed to be a Swamp Thing film in development?
Swamp Thing, Waller. What got canceled? Swamp Thing, Waller.
Sergeant Rock.
And
Swamp Thing.
only got canceled.
Paradise Island.
That's a good point. They couldn't float
Paradise Lost or Paradise Island.
20 more million for
Sergeant Rock.
Like that does not scream a company that has money, right? Like, why
Right.
would you greenlight something if you're like the difference between 70 or what was it?
70 and 90.
70 and 90 is make or break. They're like, dude, then you weren't gonna make that much money. Anyway. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Like,
And you know, with all the stuff that you guys have brought up, I also think deep down that's probably the reason why the Batman continues to be delayed if that movie is even going to happen again.
Yes.
We said that when we first started the channel, because you look at the cycle of stuff and you actually listen to what they're saying. It's like, dude, they have no. Dude, I don't think they wanted the Penguin to do well.
No,
if you
they
look
were
at that, that
pissed.
was released midweek. It was such a hit that they had to give it that
Sunday
prime
spot.
time Sunday spot.
Dude, Gunn promoted that just with a fucking emoji.
An emoji.
Yeah.
That's right.
Dude.
Because they did
Like,
not
come
want
on,
that to
man. You got to be
successful.
professional. But
By
no,
the way,
it wasn't him.
Completely undercuts the narrative that people don't want grounded superhero films.
Yes.
Like that's like the Sopranos in Gotham. I
In
don't know. Yeah.
Gotham. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Good analogy. That's a good analogy.
All right.
All right.
Let's last topic. Last final topic. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. God damn it, fucking James. Why are you making me do this?
Yes, make it. Yes, come on. Let's go. Let's see some peak right quick.
All right, run this super shit.
Peak.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, a link will be in the description to see this. It might get, and I don't care if we get a hit on copyright. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, so you're.
But anyway.
Oh yeah, he likes fast and loose. That's the way he gets.
Katie, the day that I don't have to stream anymore about James Gunn or his DC is gonna be the best day of my fucking life.
Have you all not seen this yet? Is this your first time watching it, or
This is actually my first time watching it. I've been holding off.
I have not watched it.
Okay, this is the
Saw
second.
glimpses and stuff, but I haven't watched it.
This is gonna be my second.
I can't wait to see y'all's reaction.
Come on, man. Let's go. Let's get it.
Let's run this.
I know, right? Just let's go.
Oh, it's lagging, Phil.
Man.
Here we go.
Okay, we're good.
The most powerful being on planet Earth.
We finally meet.
Now, as planned, I'll destroy you.
And of course,
That reporter you always do interviews with.
who raised you as a child?
I'll kill them too.
No matter what you do to me, Luther, your plans won't work.
Wrap it up.
Good luck with that.
I know, Charles. I know. I know.
Big Blue.
Buckle up.
They chose him. Let them die. Hey! Quit messing around.
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
I'm done. I can't. I won't.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
What in holy hell was that? Look, I'm going first. I'm sorry. I'm going first. I had to get this out. I'm going first.
First, are you gonna rant? Are you gonna rant? Are you gonna rant?
I gotta destroy it now. I saw the whole thing. Like I said, I saw glimpses of it, but I gotta destroy this. First of all, Nicholas Hoult and David Cornsweet sound like two 8-year-olds in a sandbox talking to each other. They sound like little kids. the way that what's his Lexus? What's the actor's name? The one playing Lex. Nicholas Hoult.
Nicholas
Yeah.
Hoult.
Nicholas Hoult. He's delivering his lines like a child, and so is David Cornsweet. That's number one. The way they're talking, it's like there's two kids talking with green army men, and they're just playing in the sandbox together. That's what it sounds like to me. There is no gravitas. There is no. They don't sound like men. Neither one of them. They don't. All right, that's number one. Number two, the VFX in this film are reminiscent of that shot from The Flash when Sasha Calle's Superman ran up and punched out the security guard and they slowed it down in slow-mo and she gave one of them the palm fist and all of that. It looks like that. The shot where Lois Lane is flying Mr. Terrific ship, that was a shot from you can take your pick. Thor Ragnarok or Guardians of the Galaxy. Take your pick. That's what that was to me. It felt super kid friendly. It was not geared toward adults. It felt worse than the CW because I've seen shit in the CW that looked way better than that. And then what the fuck was up with that scene at the end with him flying? That was the worst shit I have ever seen in my life. There we go. That's my rant.
I love your rant.
Terrible. Terrible that movie, that trailer was. I saw clips of it, like I said, and you can see him where I clipped him. I was like, I just saw, this is the first time I've seen him. What was up with homie on all fours under the building instead of just holding the building up on the ground like this? Why was he like this?
Dude,
why did he have his feet? Why did he have his feet and his hands on the building trying to push it up instead of just... Yeah, that's the Black Adam shot right there.
I posted this a couple days ago, and it
this
said,
is a thumbnail now. Rock,
yeah,
this is a thumbnail.
But it's missing the text. The text for Cavill, it said
You'll figure it out
flirting.
later.
The text for Cavill said flirting, and the text for Cornsweet said harassment. So flirting versus harassment.
Yeah. So my final thing is Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Flash. He just kind of balled that shit up like this and was hoping for a free throw. And he closed his eyes.
Don't do that to Thor Ragnarok. Thor Love and Thunder will give you.
Yeah, I'm with Katie there. I'm with Katie
Honestly,
there.
I like Ragnarok for what it is.
But Thor Ragnarok.
Ragnarok was Ragnarok was like
okay. It was like okay. They were right on the line. Let's just put it like that.
Right.
Waititi at the time was like almost teetering right off of the edge, and I'm like, bro, don't go too far off the edge. You're right there. Don't do it. And he did it with Love and Thunder. I didn't even,
because I would say this is too far. Like the teeth hitting the camera, I was like, get the like,
I'm doing important stuff.
Yeah,
you know, it feels like it feels like we're going. And it's funny because I posted something on X a couple weeks ago where I was talking about the toys and the marketing for this film, and I was saying that the marketing reminds me of the way they marketed Batman and Robin toys, and now I see this trailer, and it's like the Batman and Robin-ification of Superman and the Superman franchise. I feel like they are taking us back to
this is Schumacher 2.0, bro.
And when you think about it, think about what James Gunn said. Who was James Gunn's favorite Batman?
George Clooney.
George fucking Clooney.
So does that not make sense? What I'm trying to say here, that we are going back to what they attempted to do with Batman and Robin and trying to take that formula, because it's clearly aimed at the kids, and trying to make that the new thing. You know, they're trying to guess do what they couldn't do before. They're trying to replicate that.
Yeah, Katie, go ahead.
I was saying, because they still go too far though if it's aimed at kids, because they have the middle finger up when he has what's his face?
Guy Gardner.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. And then they have Lois Lane. didn't we see a clip where she says shit?
I can't tell if they're like alluding to it and they're like going to do like a cutaway, but when the DC like whatever their news did have it in the like the font that they posted, but I don't.
Well, regardless, I'm looking at the campiness, and I'm seeing Batman and Robin, that level of campiness all over again.
Agreed.
And like, yeah, this isn't for me. I will be taking part in the wallets closed #Henry Cavill Superman movement. Like, I'm not doing it, guys. I'm sorry. I'll watch Man of Steel with my kids that day. If the movie drops on a torrent website, maybe I'll watch it that way. But they're not getting my money. Not happening.
You guys are asking for my money, and I can't give it to you. I can't. I cannot give you my money for this. This is not.
Right. I need to share this also because I got shit online. I was like, "Fuck you all. I don't give a shit." Online, but please, you're in a stressful situation, and you're smoking a cigar. Please make that make sense. And motherfuckers, yes, I know Perry White in the comics smoked a stogie. And I know Perry White in the comics, OG was fucking white.
Look at
you guys are doubting out there. The gunners are doubting my comic book knowledge.
I want to know how Lois learned how to fly a spacecraft.
Thank you,
bro. Lois is a boss babe, bro. She's always been a boss babe. That's gonna be what they. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and I just realized over there, Cat Grant's over there, and over there, I have no fucking idea. Is that Mr. Terrific? I don't think so.
No, in the back.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, that is Mr. in the back.
Is that Mr. Terrific?
That's Mr. Terrific.
Holy hell! I didn't even notice that. So wait a minute. They got Lois flying.
Go ahead, Charles. Sorry.
I was gonna say, wait a minute. So they got Lois flying it.
I thought it was the dude from the Daily Planet.
If you guys go back, it's not. It's
it's not. Okay.
Yeah.
See, they got the glasses.
Who is it? Is that Ultra?
It's the guy. No, it's the guy from the Daily Planet who has the glasses. If you go to the scene where they're watching like the TV,
right?
Okay.
He's in the scene. It's just a nobody.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. Yeah,
the reflection was from the lighting in the spaceship, and that's why it was looking like it was reflecting off his mask. That's why I thought it was Mr.
Yeah, I think it's hitting his glasses and giving the reflection or whatever. Yeah.
Because pause right here. So.
No, go back. Right.
Right.
Yeah. I see it.
We saw him right there. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Why won't it fucking stop when I tell it to stop?
Simple, Phil.
There you go. There he is.
It's that.
That's him.
Okay. All right.
So that dude, Cat Grant's right next to him, and Lewis is flying the plane, and Jimmy is being Jimmy, and yeah.
Yep.
That guy with the polo and the mustache is from SNL. He's pretty funny, man. It's gonna be a real chuckle fest in the Daily Planet. Like half those people are comedians.
Well, some of those shots just look like they're ripped out of a video game, dude. They just look like 3D renders. Like they don't even look like completed shots. That scene where he's lasering everybody when he's doing the 360 and lasering everybody, like it doesn't look real. I mean,
I am not. I refuse to subject what little vision I have in my eyes left to this shit. I'm not watching that.
I thought the cinematographer is the dude from The Flash.
Yes, that's why it looked like that. That's why that shot was exactly like that. The teeth, the slow-mo, and the teeth coming out and all that. Oh, no.
Like
Andy, thank you for saying that because I was just about to pull this.
Oh, no. Don't.
Yep.
Look, the setting looks the same. Yep. Cinematography is identical. It's yeah. Maybe that's why James Gunn said The Flash was the best superhero movie he'd ever seen.
Yeah, we were talking about. We were like, he probably actually believes that. Like, I don't
believe that. Yes.
Like, people were saying after the fact, they're like, "Oh no, he just said it because he's ahead of the studio and he has to for the company purposes." But I'm like, no, I think he actually believes that.
Keep guys like Muschietti and the cinematographer around if you didn't like it, right? There's no reason to.
Yeah, this is crazy, dude. This is.
I just have this feeling that George Clooney's going to end up being the Batman in his universe. I just have a feeling he's going to do it.
George, if you're watching or hearing this, please no.
Yeah,
do
the
it.
brave and the bold. He's the age
Hey,
that
look,
you would
guys,
need him.
Clooney even admitted a while back, man, he was phoning that shit in, bro. He was like, I really wasn't, you know,
Terrible.
yeah, I love you, Clooney. Don't ever do no shit like that again. I loved you and Michael Clayton, man. That was one of your I
Ocean's
don't know
11.
if you guys have ever seen Ocean's 11, obviously.
Michael
But he
Clayton,
was
Ocean's
great
11,
as
Out of Sight.
Michael Clayton. He was out of sight. Absolutely. Those were bangers right there, man. Oh, and then he made
Let me paint a little conspiracy theory picture for you. If he were to make George Clooney the Batman of his universe, that would mean his universe is technically canon to the DCEU, to the Flash, because you can turn around and say that the new Superman is a result of the universe that the Flash is currently in now. You get what I'm saying? He could connect this whole thing if he wanted to.
He initially said the Flash was going to be the catalyst for the swap over.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then the Flash nobody saw it, so they're like, maybe it's going to be Blue Beetle, and then maybe it's going to be Creature Commando. Yeah.
So imagine that. Yeah. That's what I'm going to bet money on. I think he initially wanted Robert Pattinson, but I think because he can't get Pattinson, I think he would go with George Clooney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
But he would do George Clooney just to get to us.
Yep.
Not just because he thinks, oh, it's a great spot. It's just to get to us. Because
yes.
Remember, it's an ego thing. He knows that we, ever since he came on board, and the first thing he did was talk shit about all us, the fans. Like, we, the fans, were rallying with, for instance, with the Netflix hashtag, hey, sell Netflix, sell ZSJL to Netflix. And what did he do? Trash that thing down. So instead of being a bridge and trying to reach out to the fandom, all he did was spit at us.
Yeah.
No.
It's
but anywho,
well, anyway, that trailer made me throw up in my mouth. So there we go. That's my opinion of it.
Do you guys have any? I want to get
any last things? Any last thoughts about the trailer before we wrap up?
No, it's just it's like a real problem talking about this film because people have either made up their minds or it's become incredibly tribal. You can't even like I always try and be fair, like, and I try and like explain what I think. And so that scene, like for me, the scene that sticks out is the one where he's got Mr. Terrific being like, stop messing around, and he's like, I'm doing important stuff. And I was like, I will cede to you that is a funny thing for a character to say in a situation, but it doesn't feel like Superman. It feels like Star-Lord. It feels like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Thank you.
When I first started saying, because I'm not going to pretend like I haven't liked some of James Gunn's films. Like I've seen all of his shit. I don't think the people that are defending him have seen as many of his films as I have, because I always said James Gunn has a problem with sincerity. That's not his strong suit. He's a chuckle dude. Like, he doesn't like heartful stuff.
Dude, I like that.
And he often tries to take the cheapest way to emotionally like manipulate people, whether it's through animals, like you look in Guardians 3, or things that are just over the top.
It's a
like
shortcut, right?
But sometimes shortcuts work. But when it becomes your pattern, you have to ask, is that the only thing you can do? When it came out, people were like, oh, but I like Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, dude, I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't want a Guardians of the Galaxy Superman. And this feels a lot like Guardians 4. It looks like, but that's how I felt with The Flash. It was such a departure, and I don't want my DC to look like Marvel. And I feel like that's what we're fighting about is it's like you're a hater if you just want to keep them separate. But like, it feels like that's inevitable, that they've wanted Marvel. It's going to be Marvel. All the people that said it wasn't going to be Marvel are now changing their tune and be like, well, of course it's going to be Marvel. And that's a good thing. Like,
yeah.
So what was the past year of fighting saying James Gunn was going to do James Gunn stuff about?
I saw Sin Havoc's comment there about his red eyes. Why was Superman's eyes, they look like they were sunburned? The theory that's going around online is that's what happens when he uses his heat vision, which I think is...
That creates so many problems.
Really?
Yeah. That's the theory.
But that'll create so many issues.
Which again, take that little micro argument.
Whatever.
You have people saying, okay, well, how does he keep his disguise as Clark? You have other people projecting, saying, well, I assume it's because of the kryptonite. But that's an assumption, dude. You're already trying to create like headcanon to explain
it. And before the movie is even out.
And what we have to go on is basically just what we've seen in the trailer. The other thing we saw in the trailer too is the whole he has to have some machine beam sunlight into him for him to
magnify
recover.
it. Yeah.
And spoiler to all you Guns fan out there, Metamorpho has kryptonite.
Yeah.
There you go. How did Super get captured? Because Metamorpho's already in the cell, and guess what? He can go to any element he wants. Kryptonite. There
And
you
that's
go.
technically not a spoiler because they gave that away in the trailer. That's been in the market.
Well, yeah. Metamorpho for you dummies out there. Basically, he's just manipulating atoms. That's all he's doing is change. That's how he's changing his structure. He can change into kryptonite. Yeah.
But again, lazy. That's the point I'm trying to say. It's lazy. Gunn didn't have to put Metamorpho. He didn't have to put all the characters. But again, he's trying to find the cheap way in, and it's gonna fucking flop.
And the contradiction in terms, guys. So when things look silly, people will defend it, being like, "Well, this is a new Superman. Like you can't. He's young. He's new. He's still emotional. He's impetuous. He's not going to be your perfect Superman yet." But meanwhile, they said, "No, this is a world where Superman's already known that superheroes have been around for a while, which means, bro, he's more a veteran than Cavill was when he fought Zod."
But you know what makes no sense about that argument is that they're saying that he's now 3 years into his journey. What would it matter at that point if you're already in this world that has established superheroes for 300 years, as they've said? What would make Superman any different? Or what would make Superman Superman in a world like that? You know what I'm saying? I have a lot of questions about that decision for them to go that route.
By the way, Darshan, hey, Lethal Geeks, any plans to do a watch party July 11th for Man of Steel? Not at the moment.
No.
But
yes.
No,
I'm not going to give nothing away. We have some stuff coming down the pipe, guys. Stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say.
And if you know, you know.
But nobody knows. You don't know.
Friday would be a work day for me anyway, so yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it.
All right, guys, let's wrap up this evening. So, final thoughts. Let's start with our guest, Andy. You go first.
Regarding Superman or
regarding
everything, like
everything. We're wrapping up the
everything.
whole show.
You know?
Thoughts?
Dude, no, just thanks for having us. This was fun. This is a lot of fun. Really appreciate
it. Absolutely.
Katie.
Sorry.
I got you off guard.
We're living crazy times, you guys. Like, I feel like it's just so weird to live in a situation where, like, I'm a huge movie buff and I've always talked about movies. Just like the trailer, like, discussion, I think is just weird. Even the trailer we just watched, there's specific pieces I can easily pick out that I do like. And then there's multiple things I can pick out that I don't like. But it's like even trying to have that conversation.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear that shit. It's like either it's perfect
or it sucks.
Or shut the fuck
or it's
up.
not.
Yeah, like,
right.
Yeah.
So it's weird. So yeah, it's just I would like it to be out already so we can just stop.
Move past it.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
Can't come any sooner.
Yeah, because now we're getting into the weird realm where I feel like people are just no longer being honest, because even the people who were wanting to have honest conversations to begin with no longer are. So yeah, it's an interesting time.
Yep. So rocks.
No, I kind of want to play off what Katie just said there, because there is some insane dialogue and some really weird stuff going on with social media right now, and how people are presenting their opinions on the fandoms and presenting trying to portray fandoms in certain ways. It seems very coordinated, very weird. Almost like people have a vested interest in pushing certain narratives, which we all know they do. So at the end of the day, guys, try to take what you're seeing online with that stuff with a grain of salt. A lot of these people who are claiming to represent certain movements or claiming to be certain fans of something, they aren't. You know what I mean? It's engagement farming is what is happening right now. People are trying to create certain narratives to farm engagement on social media to push their narrative. That's what I see happening. Be aware of that. and proceed with caution. That's all I have to say. Other than that, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank Hold My DualShock for coming on the show. It was a pleasure to have you guys here. This was a long overdue conversation. We've been in group chats together for a long time, so it's nice to finally have you guys here and to be able
it's
to
been
get
a
your
while.
thoughts
We've been
on
trying to
all of
get
this.
you, and finally we were able to get you here. Schedules lined up. Charles, your take.
You know my take. Why are you asking me that, man?
Because I'm going to close with a trending event. Finish it so I can finish it up.
Fine, whatever, man. Look.
It's past your past bedtime. I know.
Look.
I'm trying to get to the film, dude.
We live in a post-truth time now, a post-truth era. Like I said at the beginning of this conversation, like I always say, in a lot of reasons, especially in these type of fandoms, and people just don't see truth as truth anymore, even when it's staring you right in the face. I don't understand why it's so hard just to tell the goddamn truth.
Yeah,
I really don't. I don't understand why it's so hard. You are not losing anything by being honest with somebody. You are in fact building your reputation and making sure that your integrity is at a high standard because you are telling the truth to people, regardless if they can handle it or not. When I'm telling people stuff, it is not my job to assess whether or not you can handle it. My job is to tell you what the fuck is up. How you perceive it and where you go from there is up to you. But your vibe and your feelings are not truth. They're just not. I don't care how you feel about something. Well, I say the sky is blue because I feel like it is, or I feel like the sky is green because I feel it. Your feelings are not truth. Truth is truth. When you do research, when you use your head, when you analyze, when you put in the time and the effort to search for the truth, that's the truth. Not you feeling a certain way. And when it comes to this fandom, that is what is going on. People are using their feelings and their vibes. They know that shit is ugly that they're looking at. They know that motherfucker looks stupid with drawers on. They know his suit looks like a wetsuit. They know the VFX is terrible in this fucking movie. They know all of this stuff. But they want to see and perceive what they want to see. And ladies and gentlemen, the rose-colored glasses, they're on and they're not taking them off. That's my final thought. So,
all righty. So let me close this out here. So, guys, a quick reminder to all: our wallets are closed July 11th because you work hard for your money. I work hard for my money. I ain't giving my money away to crap. I'm sorry. I love DC. I'm a DC guy to heart. I'm more DC than Marvel, but sorry, I'm not watching Superman. I'm sorry. That ain't happening. Instead, I'd rather support something that I believe in. And I do believe that Henry Cavill is this generation's Superman. And I do believe that either Netflix, Warner Brothers, a third party, I don't care, somebody after July 11th, they're going to have a huge awakening and realize, fuck. We're not.
We got to go back. We got to go back.
We need to start listening to the people who. And guys, for July 11th, you guys are going to want to party with us. That's all I'm going to say. If you know, you know.
July 12th, Phil. The day after the trending event is the big.
Oh yes, and July and yes, and July 12th, which is our 1-year anniversary. I don't want to spoil it. You got
no, yeah. Well, you're not going to spoil it.
It's too
early.
You're
not going to spoil it. Yeah, it's too early for all that. We would Hold My DualShock, Katie, Andy. Thank you guys again for coming on the show. I really appreciate your perspectives on all of this. To the chat, everybody that showed up and showed out, thank you so much for being a part of this team. Like I said at the beginning of the conversation, man, we're here to try to bridge this stuff together, man. This is getting exhausting. All I wanted was 2 films from Zack Snyder finished. His Superman arc is done, so I can go die in peace. That's all I want. And that's I mean if I get me a Batfleck, yay, you know, if I get me another Superman, yay, cool. If I get me a Cyborg film, great, bring it on. But if I don't get any of that, just at least give me those last two. Give me that dark side fight. Give me that so I can rest. That's dark literally
side. That fight would have been epic.
I want that so bad, and the way they just left it on that cliffhanger like that, man, is just it's terrible. Anyway, I'm going on.
It's a crime. It's a crime.
It's a crime. It's late, guys. I know you guys are probably tired. Whatever. Again, Katie, Andy, Hold My DualShock. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. This has been episode 24 of the Lethal Geeks podcast. You guys have a great night. Thank you.
See you guys in 2 weeks. And guys, we will be in touch. So see you guys soon. All right, guys. See you in 2 weeks. Later. Peace. And while it's closed.
I don't know what to say, really. 3 minutes till the biggest battle of our professional lives. All comes down to today. And either we heal as a team, or we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. We're in hell right now, gentlemen. Believe me. And we can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time. Now, I can't do it for you. I'm too old. I look around, I see these young faces, and I think, I mean, I made every wrong choice a middle-aged man can make. I pissed away all my money, believe it or not. I chased off anyone who's ever loved me. And lately, I can't even stand the face I see in the mirror. You know, when you get old in life, things get taken from you. I mean, that's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that inch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. You're gonna see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're gonna do the same for him. That's a team, gentlemen. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals. That's football, guys. That's all it is. Now, what are you gonna do?